It is time for go. And we am live. Live we am. Oof, barely in time. Literally last second doing something. Oh, I'm getting echo. I am getting echo, sir.
From me?
Well, it ain't coming from me. Let me see here. Okay. I don't know. One of these days we'll get you a Bluetooth headset. Guys, go subscribe to his channel so that he can afford to get a Bluetooth headset.
Or buy stuff for my storefront or something like that. Linked in the descriptions on my videos.
There you go.
So to say, it's not linked on any of your stuff, at least not right now.
No. Well, what's going on, guys? I see people in the chat already. I need to slightly adjust said camera.
Hello, chat people.
Okay, we got Valeraines, we got Rontrez Beauregard, Androius, Mandalorian Blue, and the Jerry Leal. Whoa, and then Plasmarks. The chat did the thing where it just suddenly jumps. Everybody's saying hello. Hello, says Plasmarks. So,
you okay, my dude?
I'm wrecked. I am really wrecked. So I started trying to work out a little bit more this week because I'm getting a little flabbier up here, as I've noticed in the kitchen videos and stuff like that. So I started working out a little bit more, which made most of my upper body nice and sore this week. And then delivering a few hundred packages between Friday and Thursday and Friday, and then my normal Saturday gig just really kicked my ass. And then I injured myself yesterday at work. Gave myself a nice gouge on my shoulder blade by standing up into a nice metal bracket. So that hurts. So yeah,
I've done something like that before. It is not fun.
No, it hurts. And it doesn't help that doesn't matter how I move or how I lay. It's touching, you know?
Yeah.
I'm lucky that it wasn't deep enough to bleed, but it was deep enough to bruise, you know? So it's a cut, but a super shallow cut through my shirt, and it's a bruise underneath. So it really freaking hurts. How's the weather? Still safe. We are currently safe. Later this week, who knows? It's going to be a terrible, terrible mess. Because
it could either be okay or it could be a repeat of history from the early 1900s.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's going to be at least Ike or Katrina bad, which wasn't great. Let's just be honest. But it's not like 1900s bad. Well, half of what made the 1900s storm bad is there was no seawall. Yeah. There was nothing to slow it down. It just storm surge and wind just wiped out Galveston, and God knows what else it did. But no, currently, originally, if you guys were following my community tab, I was posting the weather maps where it showed the two storms were basically side by side between Louisiana and Texas. Now they're actually crossing paths, not at the same time, but the smaller storm is going to hit earlier and kind of basically hit Louisiana and then hook into that's Marco. He's going to hook into this other states, and then Laura, which is currently around Cuba, very slowly is going to come across the Gulf and either head basically right into New Orleans or continue to hook west and plow straight into Houston. One of the two. It's us or it's either us or New Orleans. Either way,
what I've heard is fun is with Laura. It went pretty much the entire length of Cuba.
Yeah,
which it's going over all that land and didn't slow down or lose power at all.
Well,
so it's just going back into the Gulf where it's just going to get more warm water to fuel it.
Well, it just went over Puerto Rico today. It's kind of clipping the southern tip of Cuba, and then it's going to hook and catch the northern tip of Cuba, because it goes like this. So it's just going to just hit the edges of Cuba and then just slowly creep across the Gulf, staying over the warm water like a bitch. So, I mean, realistic, Ben R's here finally. He had to take the trash out all the way to Michigan. Eric's here. Who else? Adam Knight just showed up. Gold Cat, I see you right there. Need to invest in colonies. Just got to capture rich people. That's weird. We have colonies. They're just underground. But no, yeah. So everybody anywhere along the Gulf Coast, just be safe. Listen to authorities. This is not a time to be playing around. People learned that in Katrina. Listen to when people tell you it's go time. And I know that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Hurricane's worse. It's like let's just put it forth. A hurricane is worse than getting sick for a week. it's like if it doesn't kill you in the initial storm, everything else could possibly kill you.
Yeah,
so,
I wasn't here for Katrina, but I was here for Ike.
Neither one was fun. Katrina, the freeways were filled with people for 4 days. Literally couldn't go anywhere. I had to work. I was working at Walmart at the time. I had to work all the way up until the day it was supposed to be hitting us. They let us go like a few hours early to get home because, that's good enough, right? I got home in time to board up my car in the carport just to be safe. And luckily, other than the power going out and stuff like that, it really wasn't that bad. A few trees down, at least for us. And we're much further north than you are. But I think currently I will take a windstorm over a rainstorm like Harvey. Because at least, that can die down. There's stuff in the way. There's nothing in the way of 1 billion gallons of water. So, it is what it is. Just everybody be safe from here. Like Mississippi and the other side of Louisiana are preparing for Marco. And they're like, okay, everybody be cool. We'll just see what happens. Even though I think it's going to be like a category 1 and then die down. And then it's just going to trace across, the states over to like North Carolina, Virginia, stuff like that. Hopefully it doesn't pop out the other side and turn into a hurricane again. What was that storm we had last year? The one that hit really far south of here, and then like kept training up and through the states and turned into a northeastern. You remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to get some of it here in Corpus. Yeah, no, likely. Yeah. Did Mississippi ever dry out?
I also remember back in the 90s, there was a hurricane that went up the East Coast.
Uh-huh.
And it made landfall, went in a little ways, and then decided that that sucked, so it went back out to the water and turned back into a full-fledged hurricane again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what Harvey did.
Mrs. got to go through that when she lived up that way.
Yeah. Harvey was literally a perfect storm of situation. We're stuck between two high fronts. So it literally just got pushed inland and then got pushed back out to water up north. Because you remember its track, it did and then, it did a spiral around Texas and just said, let's just take out everything. So it was a windstorm when it hit, and then it was a rainstorm when it parked on top of Houston for 3 days. I will take a fast moving windstorm any day. Because as bad as it'll suck, that's 1 day and then clean up. Harvey was 3 weeks and then clean up. There were places that were still underwater after a month, so I will gladly take it. I will.
Yeah, we were fine over where we were at. Yeah. That's how the time I got off of work from that was how I was able to build the master grade winged endless waltz version.
Yeah. Remember that time in the 2000s Florida got hit by 4 hurricanes, or got hit 4 times by the same hurricane, where it just went boop, 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 boop. Yeah. Oh, God. But it wasn't that big of a storm. But yeah, I remember that. It's just zigzagged. Worst hurricane I've ever experienced, that was probably Ike. Ike hit Texas more than Katrina. Katrina we got some rain and wind from Katrina, but the biggest impact, no joke, was the people evacuating Louisiana. That shut Texas down. I literally had to try to change the oil on a car. I remember it was a white Isuzu Rodeo with a family of 5 that had been in it for 3 days.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
they packed everything they could, and they had been in the car in traffic for 3 days. One, it was hot as hell, like literally could not touch it. And I was trying to change the oil, and it obviously did not smell great. And then they just went after they were done. They went and they got some food in the store, whatever they could, and then they left. Got back on the road. I-45 was a parking lot. Luckily, I didn't have to use it back then. It's like I was staying with my parents at the time, so I didn't have to do it. I was in my own apartment, and then we were without power for days. And that was a stupid thing. So, you know, we live where we live now. We're in a city.
Mm-hmm.
What never occurred to me is that I had running water, even though we had no power. So I went to my parents' house where the water didn't work because of no power, but they had gas so we could cook. You know, filled the bathtub or whatever for boiling water, stuff like that. You know, trying to wash. And then I realized after 3 days of staying at my parents' house, I'm going to go home, grab some stuff, check on my place. And that's when I went in and I just did something and I turned on the sink I used the bathroom and I flushed the toilet and it worked. And I'm like, son of a bitch, I've had water this whole time. I was like, so I just stayed there. I just opened the windows, you know, and let the cooler air come in because that was a much later in the year storm. So it wasn't as hot out. It just sucked to not have power for, 5 days.
I remember when I hit, we were at the first apartment. Ron and Mrs. and I were still fairly newlyweds. And we were fine at first. And then, like, there was those thunderstorms that happened after Ike had already passed us.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at my computer playing, I think it was 4.
Nice.
And then suddenly I hear this bang, bang, and the power goes out. I'm like, what the heck just happened? And apparently a transformer blew somewhere.
Lucky him.
That was also the storm that caused part of the ceiling to come in the apartment, and we ended up basically having to leave that apartment because it was no longer safe for habitation. And
no kidding.
They didn't want to do anything about it in a timely fashion. I understand it was just after a storm, but they were trying to tell us, like, oh, mold goes away after it dries. That Rockwell insulation, you can pick it up and rub it on your arm if you want to.
Yeah, right.
Like,
well, it's like what happened to us in the Memorial Day floods. They're like, no, it's fine. That's not mold. It's mildew. I'm like, I'm sorry. What's the difference? It's still a fungus growing on the wall that got soaking wet. Morons. But my biggest concern is the proximity of trees to our current place, like the giant pine tree that's less than a foot from our roof. So that's my main concern. So yeah, it is what it is. Who did the transformer blow? Nobody, Jerry. Shush. In other news that literally only affects me, kolaches aren't a thing in Michigan, and I'm sad. How are kolaches not a thing in Michigan?
There should be okay, first, what are you talking about when you say kolaches?
Yeah, what kind of
you will get into arguments with people about that. Just talk to my mother-in-law.
Yeah. So they may not be called kolaches up there. So do your research. Also, Michigan has a lot of beer. I don't know if you're old enough to drink Ben, but there's a lot of good beer in Michigan.
I would think is there not a German Czech community up in Michigan?
There must be. Let's just be honest here. It's not like Texas, but yeah. Find the nearest German deli market. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our recap now that we have nearly 30 people coming in. What did you have on the channel this past week that people didn't watch and they should subscribe and go back and watch?
I did my review on the Zoids Wild Ganon Toys. It's the first Zoid kit I built in a long time, and
Ganon Toys?
Ganon Toys. It's called Ganon Toys. It's spelled with a G.
That's weird. It's a cannon tortoise, even though there's actually no cannon on it that I could see.
It is if you flip it out.
Oh, I got you. I didn't watch your review. I was very busy this week. I was busy this week.
But that was a cool one and actually got some pretty decent views for me. And I also reviewed the Masters of the Universe Origin He-Man, which started off getting abysmal views, and then this weekend suddenly it had like 47 views, which is insane for me. Most of my videos only go up to like 20, and then that's about it, unless it's some of my really popular ones, which that my review of Transformers Armada Unicron is slowly approaching like 1,000 views, and I'm not too sure what's going to happen after that.
Who knows? It's just because people are all up in a tizzy about the different Unicrons coming out. But yes, you will also, whenever we manage to get together, you'll have other things to look at from the He-Man line.
Yes.
Which, by the way, guys, if you're a old school He-Man fan, toys, that is, they have basically re-released them with more articulation. So go check your Walmarts. There are massive end caps or side caps of them. So go check them out.
And at the Walmart I went to, they weren't on the end caps that were like facing to the inside of the store. They were on the back side, facing the back wall.
Yeah. So go check out the toy section. Some of them, they'll be in the middle of the toy aisle, just literally like every He-Man figure you can think of out of like one wave. I'm amazed they released like 7-8 figures, 2 vehicles, so to speak, in the first wave. Though the only way you get Prince Adam is if you buy the Sky Sled. So,
I had no interest in it whatsoever, so
that's
where you find Skeletor and Battle Cat.
Yeah, but that's where you buy that just to get the Prince Adam, and then you sell the sled. But that's all you had on the channel, just those 2.
Yep.
Okay. From my experience, tend to gravitate towards Unicron the longer it's around. Okay. Let's see. What all did I have? Let's go back to Monday. Didn't have anything on Monday. I did have an In the Kitchen video where I got some Black Series, some Power Rangers, I think. Stuff from TF Source and Hasbro Pulse orders, along with some Eagle Moss stuff. So guys need to pay attention to my In the Kitchen videos, which apparently nobody did because it only has 80 views. Which I thought it had more than that. I'm fairly certain some views disappeared this weekend. Then I also had another Transformers review. I had the New Age Insecticons, which more people need to go look at that. And then on Friday, I had the results of the poll for the next Shoki build, along with kind of a unboxing. So I'm not going to tell you what that was, so you guys need to go watch that. And then my patrons actually got to see what the new build was going to be. And I just picked up a new patron today. So Arturo J. Briano is now a patroneer. Mind you, he's a base level patroneer, but it is what it is.
Welcome to the club.
Though, ironically, the thing that had the most amount of views last week was our ReRISE review, which has 360 views currently, which is the most so far. Let's see. P-Banda, did anyone else jump on Gundam-based products this weekend? No.
I know there's a bunch of Gundam Expo stuff going on. I don't have the funds for it. And
I mean, it's all the stuff you would get at conventions and then Gundam-based exclusives. They're cool, but I'm not buying any of them, just to be totally honest.
I have other stuff I'm kind of saving for and keeping in mind. Plus, I noticed that my computer needs some upgrades that will be fun to take care of in the near future.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Jerry. That's the one thing I did kind of want in the 1/60th injection molding kit. I forgot. It wasn't available when I went to go look at it. It wasn't actually available to purchase just yet. But I was buying a lot of other things this week that you'll be able to see if you go subscribe to the secondary channel, where I've got a whole lot of reviews and vlogs coming up. And something I have forgotten for the last few weeks. Oops, I just scrolled my mouse over. That was weird. I've forgotten about the Trophy of Apathy for the last few weeks. So apologies. It's been sitting here. I just keep looking over after the stream is done and forgetting to show off the Trophy of Apathy, guys. So there's that. I went back and watched the ReRISE review like 150 times because I felt bad I couldn't see it live. Well, that's crazy because that was like a 3-hour live stream. So this week I wanted to do something ever so different and actually ask what you guys specifically wanted us to talk about. And it basically equated to the entire episode. Which one person did say, just review it like normal, and then next week take questions from the chat. Just envision I said that like Morty. Uh, uh, Gee, Rodimus, can't you just take some questions from the chat next week? That wasn't a bad Morty. That's the first time I've ever attempted
I don't
to do
know
a
what I
Morty.
think about being compared to Rick there.
Well, it's either me. Okay. I guess I would be the crazy, evil, smartest genius of the universe, and you're my Morty. Is that what you're saying?
That's probably the closer equivalent. I don't know what that's.
That's not great. though better to be a Morty than a Jerry, huh? Yes, Rodimus is Rick now.
Like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's a great show. I have not seen the last season though. The RG Zeong is now a thing, or at least will be sometime soon. So yeah, that's cool.
I'm curious to see what that's going to be like, because that would.
Big.
I mean, people were saying like the Sazabi and the new were huge, but they're nothing compared to the
exactly.
Zeong.
Look, it's only wrong to be a Jerry Smith. Sure, Jerry. Of course it is. Sure, of course. What movie was that? Of course, Eric getting the Zeong, but it's not a perfect Zeong, so who cares? How much you want to bet that's the P Bandai?
Oh, perfect. I would put down money on that.
Well, Eric will. All right. So, guys, as usual, we're going to go chronological order. We're not going over everything step by step this week. So, you know what happened. And I know there's stuff that people honestly don't care that much about. And that's kind of the stuff we're skipping. You know it happened. We'll reference it slightly. Hinata did the whole ceremony thing. It was cool. We got some interesting interaction with Hiruto's parents, which his dad was hilarious in this episode. He's almost like free now that he's done writing. He's like, yay. And then it was literally like a crossover of like all the side characters in one spot for the same reason. And I was like, and a lot of people complain about Hinata basically doing nothing and being nothing. And there was a whole lot of discussion in the Discord this past week. Some good, some not good. But either way, it really showed that the side characters in the show do have a purpose. You know, without Hinata, so much of the plot wouldn't happen. Like, she's a character and a plot device at the same time, but in a decent way. But the fact that there's such connective tissue there with her being closely tied to his family, to Masaki's family, and then they're coming together for the same reason. And I did like the whole thing of like, oh, you're Hinata. I mean, Hiruto's parents. So Jeff just brings up the question: what happened to Hinata's parents?
Because we know they're around.
Well, we talked about her grandfather.
We know that she was, when she met Masaki in the hospital the first time when Shido was still unconscious, she was dropping something off for, I believe it was her dad. Yeah. So we know at least one parent is alive.
Well, there was the shark tips that were for Hiruto's dad. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
What are you talking about?
When she went when the first time we saw the hospital. Yeah. She was going there to drop off
her parents are doctors.
So she was dropping off food or
that's right. We've just never seen them.
Or papers or something for her dad. And that's when she ran into Shido's sister.
That's right. They're doctors. They work at that hospital. So extra crossover. So yeah, that is totally right. They are the never around, always off screen parents. I think even in the family photo we see with both families together, you really can't even see her parents. They're just kind of gray. But it's interesting to see. And, you know, I talked about it before, how I don't see Hinata and Hiruto ending up together because their families are so tight that they're more like
I mean, I think they're together, but it's very much sort of like a brother, sister, or a close cousin.
Yeah, very close cousin type situation. I think even if there are some feelings there, she cares about Hiruto regardless. That's obvious. But I think it's the dynamic That's why they're like a mirror image of Masaki and Mizuki, right? What's the
Something
sister's
like
name?
that.
Yeah, I think
It doesn't
that's
help that I think actually she's referring to her by her last name. So Hinata refers to the sister by her
well,
last
she
name.
generally just calls her senpai or whoever. But
Yeah.
when she referred to Hinata by her last name, it's weird.
Yeah.
But either way, so we got that stuff. It was fine. It's just nothing we need to concentrate on. She shot the arrow, which there is one good point about that. The fact that the target looks like a one eye.
But
there's a lot of symbolism
after we
there.
Were done with the after we were done with everything, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's very blatant when they show it with the arrow in it. Spoilers: she hits the bullseye because she focused and she did the whole prayer thing. And I liked her get up. The ceremonial get up was very nice.
The whole setup to it, where you see like she does like the ritual cleansing, and then they show her having the assistants helping her get the outfit on, is very cool.
I got like sacrificial virgin vibes from that. Like they're gonna throw her in the volcano. Like I know she's supposed to shoot an arrow, but are they gonna kill her? Because this is super like sacrificial virgin territory. So weird. Lovely, but weird. But all of that was the thing that happened. So that was kind of the background of all this. And like I said, we're going to go chronological order, but we're also going to be grouping things together. So we're going to start out kind of at the beginning where everybody's back in GBN. We get some nice interaction with the villagers. Kazumi talking to Maya. Have a nice little interaction there. Actually dug that. You got basically everybody talking to somebody about something. You got Hiruto and Mei talking to Goros and Moran. Goros is back. Yay. Good old One Eye is back, and they have a plan. They're going to go do a thing. What they did was actually pretty cool. Nice diversion. Talk more about that later. And then we get Freddy talking to Stola. Cool. It's an important conversation, but it's just not one of the things we're going into depth in right now. So then we get the divers going to Milag. So, or back to Milag, technically speaking, right? Because they would have had to have logged in there and then come back. Well, I guess it's moving at this point. I think they were at the old temple, like the original temple at the beginning of the episode. Because you saw the ruins and stuff.
Maybe I was reviewing specific points. I didn't.
Well, I'm just saying. I think
watch the first part.
they were either at the original ruins or that other one that was just like really trashed. It wasn't the southern one that's all jungly and stuff.
Oh, not the one that they were all evacuated to.
Yeah, exactly. So all of that happened. Now we get the divers at Milag. They're about to go, and then Kuodorn's like, hold on a second, and it goes, and then we get Tertium comes in. Tertium. Why do people keep calling it the Tritium? Like people keep referring it to as the Tritium Gundam, but it's clearly Tertium.
Tertium, because I mean it means 3 in like Greek or Roman, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or of 3 or something like that, because it's the Gundam Mark III.
I just saw it a lot in especially on the Discord and then in other comments where people are calling it the Tritium. I'm like, I don't know where you're getting that. That's not what it's called. It's clearly spelled out on the box. So it shows up and then Masaki shows up. And it's got it's cool, go buy it now armament. Which is
in stores now, bug your parents.
Exactly. And I think those are it's a couple like shield and boosters that look like they're from the Super Gundam, kind of. It looks like
a little bit. I thought they looked kind of like they're based off of the side one wing cannon thing that he had beforehand, but it's just symmetrical now.
I guess, but it's just got that extra long side booster. I'm assuming that's for space equipment, so they're like, hey, he showed up. But then even for some reason, Hiruto's like, it's okay, Kuodorn, he's good now, more or less. And it's like, yeah, how do you think he got here? Kuodorn summoned him. So just like Freddy can just summon the divers whenever they're in GBN, if Moski's online, then Kuadorn can just go boop, come on in. So we were debating on how he was going to get back in, and that's literally all he had to do. So his summoner was still there.
What I really like in that scene is I want to say Hiruto or somebody was saying, it's like, look, you shouldn't be here. I mean, you just got out of a coma. Your doctors are probably not too happy about it. And they show a close-up of his face.
Yeah, he's very serious.
And it's an expression of, it's like, ask me if I care.
Yeah.
Go on. Tell me no. Tell me I can't be here.
Yeah. So once again, this comes down to, and it's something they never show, where is everyone diving from? Like, I still think it would have been great to see them all diving from the G Cafe together. Like, they're all in the same town, they're all in the same location, they're still not all diving from the same spot.
In like some sort of special super diver setup on
Par's floating castle. Par's floating castle. It's kind of what it comes down to. But as we
have like something where they're all arranged in a circle and be like something out of Super Sentai or something.
Yeah, the pan over to show a fifth throne. Yeah, exactly. I saw that, Jerry. They did pan further out to show a fifth throne that was never shown before. Though in theory, the old temple had 6 platforms, so this one probably has 6. It just never had need to show more of them. But either way, we zoom outside and we see all of the divers together in formation, and they even brought along their cannon friend. So that's pretty cool. So we get the Rex Buster returning for one time only. And this actually starts getting into the territory of, oh, we can do that now. Here in a second. But I like that they zoom out enough and then you see Kuadorn and Maski standing in the background as well.
Right.
Everybody kind of has one last little conversation before it's time to go. So specifically what we're going to be talking about here is the launch sequence. So we were talking about before and theorizing on how the hell do these guys get into space when really only one of them has the ability. Like in theory, the Jupiter could probably get to space. It's a high speed in space use suit. It would take a ton of energy, which is their main problem. They don't want to run out of energy before they get to space. So now we have the Tate. We bring in the Tate Gundam to get them into space. And through the preview last week, where we actually got to see it activating its Stargazer-like ability, we determined almost exactly, rather, I determined almost exactly how they get to space. So basically, they get into this cool formation. We got Valkylander riding the Jupiter armor, and everybody interlocks arms as they fly, basically as high in the atmosphere as they can get. And then we see the not Stargazer activate his Voiture Lumiere system, which I like the way they did it, like how it folds up and stuff. It's interesting. The backpack is just a cool design. They hit it pretty well in the trailer. Yeah. Not really. Well, they hid what they did, yes.
Yeah, because we only could really see Neptate doing its thing, but we didn't see the others locked arms with it, basically.
Yeah. So Jerry said, but on the real, though, would Par be able to use a regular diving station? I'm pretty sure he's good at sitting. Jerry. He's very good at sitting. They're all diving from inside some sort of dive bar.
I mean, it's the cafe, so...
I mean, I would 100% have a dive bar.
That's what you would be doing if you were...
Is that what Maggie has? Is that what Maggie has? A dive bar? Either way, so we get the Voiture Lumiere system activates while everybody is floating in the sky. And it looks neat. Everybody gets all glowy. Everybody's interlocking hands somehow. Even one that doesn't necessarily... I guess technically the Woodon Pod has hands.
Yeah,
just a little weird.
The little T-Rex hands.
They're technically like full-time Gundam arms, but they're just in a weird T-Rex position. Everyone's own
plus
drive
they look
system
tiny in comparison to the rest of the pod.
Yeah. So I really like the effect and stuff here. It's pretty cool. Though I just now noticed that in the shot, he has a rear-facing camera that's like very astute there. Almost looks like the head is facing the wrong way. Is that me?
No, I mean they have a rear camera.
No, I know, but I want to see. I don't know if I actually have. Hold on. Do I have a front-facing shot of him? Okay, yeah, it's hard to tell. I haven't built that one yet. Obviously, I don't have it, which is weird because I think the weapon system's out, but the armor isn't. Go figure. But I will get that one eventually. Either way, we got lock arms. We're doing the thing, and it activates the Watcher Lumiere system, which, for those who do not know what the Stargazer does, it puts out a gigantic, essentially light field. It's basically a giant umbrella made of almost like hard light, not like an eye field or a shield, but kind of. What it's meant to do is catch EM waves, electromagnetic waves, solar wind, as it were. However, that's not really going to work in atmosphere. But the way that it does work is exactly kind of how I described it last week in theory, because they just said, fuck it, we're going to shoot it with the Rex Buster. Now, in my research this week, yes, I researched something. Shut the fuck up. In universe, in canon, no pun intended, the Stargazer actually did use a big cannon to build up speed and charge quickly. Now, there's a weird thing that they sort of do where they're kind of implying that it's absorbing the energy and pushing it out in like a form of thrust, but realistically what it does is it catches the solar wind and just keeps building up speed as it has more of it. You know, generally speaking, it faces away from a star and pushes out. But in the case of having a cannon shoot at it, using a lower powered beam to just forcibly push it away, and that's what they end up doing. Is this going to be the last time we see the update? Yes. Giant light fart, kind of. So they got the nice Rex Buster here pointing at the sky, and it shoots them right in the back. Now, what happens next makes very little sense. So the field is being emitted from the backpack outward from the ring, and they're shooting it basically to push it out. Now, I said that maybe Kuadorn would hit it with lightning, which I still think would have made sense because he could just hit the whole field all at once to force them up. I like the idea that they're using these 3 beams, and you could tell it's powered down by how narrow the beams are.
Right.
But the thing that makes no sense is that as they're pushing it up, it explodes. Like you see stuff come flying off.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, it gets bigger, but
I think that's maybe like an artist getting a little, having a little bit too much fun or something.
I think that center bit was potentially sacrificial. And that might have been what exploded, because if something would have to take the impact, because the ring is technically doing the emitting. Now Bandai can charge $15 for a kit that was on screen for a whole 2 minutes. It's not $15, it's $20, because you got 2 $10 parts. You get the armor and the thing. So technically it's $20 for the
Plus you have to buy another Core 2 Gundam.
No, you don't. You just do what you're supposed to do. You have one core and you swap the armors. You know, be one of those.
You're saying words and they don't make any sense.
Yeah, it is what it is. So either way, that explodes and gives them this huge boost upward. But you could tell there was an impact ring because everything goes whap. But the thing that was confusing me at first, I was like, wait, was it an explosion and then thrust from that caused them to go into space? And then upon rewatching, obviously there's a constant beam forcing them up. Didn't Stargazer weaponize the system against beam weaponry? There's several different usages of the Watcher Lumiere in different canon between the movies and other things. There's a thing that it can use to deflect beam weaponry. It can technically catch beam weaponry, whatever. It's really weird. It's not meant as an offensive thing. They can kind of use it as an offensive thing, and then when it was equipped to a certain astray, it was used in a very different manner. And then there's what it does on a Destiny, which is look pretty. it makes it look pretty and shoots particles everywhere. Bandai already
Is
charged
that where
us.
the Destiny Blanche comes from?
The what?
The Destiny Blanche or whatever, the white one?
No.
Okay.
No. No, the Destiny in and of itself uses the Wings of Light, which is a Watcher Lumiere system combined with the Mirage Colloid system. All it does is make pretty lights and shoots particles. Mirage Colloid is the thing that's supposed to make them invisible. Also possibly creates the after images because it's such a high concentration of particles as he's moving. It looks like after images, but actually, technically speaking, does not have a real function on the Destiny. And that's one reason why it's one of the stupidest Gundam designs ever. The only true usage of Watcher Lumiere system is how the Stargazer used it. Anything else is just an ass pull. I mean, it can do whatever it needs it to do. In this case, it's helping them shoot into space. Actually, what's interesting about it, I'm pointing at the thing like you can see it. Here, sorry, let me go to the actual screen where you can see it. Here, you can actually see the field, actually like an umbrella being shot into space, which is pretty neat in and of itself. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I meant to highlight the thing, not click on it. So this is the part that's confusing. The thing that looks like thrusters. That doesn't need to be there at all because it is not technically thrusting into space. At least it should not be, let alone that big of a, you know. The only way I could see that happening is if it was absorbing the beam and turning that into a literal thrust. But
which is
not what it's doing.
Yeah.
There's no vernier on this thing large enough to produce this big of a thing. So it's just kind of they're just like, hey, look, stuff.
It's probably something that they added to help better sell the concept of that it's moving out really fast and moving into space. So it's more for the audience.
I think it was just
better understand what's going on.
I think it was unnecessary. They just did it.
Oh, totally.
It just like, hey, this looks cool. It's not actually what's going on. It just looks cool. The difference between Destiny and Stargazer: Destiny has in-jammer cancelers, while Stargazer nuclear drive doesn't work anywhere near Earth. Yeah, nobody cares. Stargazer is meant for interstellar travel and to eventually be going like as fast. It basically has infinite speed as long as it doesn't run into shit, because it will just keep gathering particles and pushing through space. That's what it's meant for. I'm not even going to go there, Nerd Tough. Either way. So we see that all of a sudden warnings are going off, and then the field starts to shrink. Uh-oh. So basically, they had enough power in the tight armor had enough power to supposedly get it into space, and then, well, that was going to be it. So the thrust stops, and then the field starts to die, and they're like, oh no, we didn't quite make it, because space is actually really far away. Yeah. So they go, okay, we don't have enough energy to get there. What do? We go, oh yes, we have a Valkylander. So we activate a very shaky and blurry Gundam. By the way, there's no way to get a good still from the next few frames because it was a super shaky, like actually leaving the atmosphere, which was pretty cool. So we activate Gundam, and we get a Valkylander once again turning red, which is cool. Not gonna lie. Why don't they have that out yet? Like the actual Gundam version of both. We can get a red and a white one. And this
he also has like innovator eyes.
He does have innovator eyes. Actually, that's a good call. I didn't even catch that. That's actually exactly what that is. You knew something from 00.
Truth be told, the main reason I know about it is because I was looking over comments on the video on the episode, and somebody brought that. I was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, so you saw somebody else said it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, Masterful Paladin. They're trying to conserve on any and all energy. That's why nobody's done anything to get into space except for this. So using external forms of energy to get there because they've got a lot of fighting to do. So other than this is the first time we've done any kind of energy application. So you got to wonder, why is the Valkylander activating Gundam? And it gets a little confusing. I had to explain it to you, in fact, how
yeah, and then when I rewatched it, one of your explanations looked like it wasn't registering right. So I'm still wondering. I'm still a little confused myself. But please continue.
I think essentially all he's doing, and at first it seems like, oh, he's going to help power them up with some Transam. No, that's not what's happening. From what I can guess, Hiroto's field hadn't completely failed just yet, but they still needed something to keep pushing them into space in case it did. So essentially, I think all he did was basically just create a giant GN field, which acts like an I field, which acts a lot like this Watcher Lumiere, and just continues to push them up. The other very slight possible explanation is that the way GN drives work, they technically negate the mass of the Gundams when in use, and that's how they fly. They kind of just float away. So in theory, he potentially reduced the mass to help them escape, but I think it was a GN field idea, which is why it continues to look like a big ass umbrella, because it just needed something to push against. Anybody with an I field, Kazumi's shield technically would have worked here if they just slapped it behind there. You know, something that could resist the beam attack and continue to push them forward. It's also possible that the GN field would help negate some friction of the atmosphere to help them just kind of push the last little bit out.
Okay. That jives with what I saw where, because rewatching it, it looks like the GN field is on the outside.
I think the problem with a GN field is that it basically goes out in all directions. You know, unless you have like what the CeraVe and Virtue and stuff had, where it was a very hard like bubble. You know, essentially a GN field goes everywhere, kind of like Transam Burst, just went in every direction. So if you just needed to make a GN bubble to catch the field in, it's either one of two things. It's either that it's reducing the drag, which is fine, cool. Would have been something they could have done a little slightly earlier, maybe help them out a little bit more. Or it's either reducing the mass just enough to help, it's reducing drag enough to help, or it's just making up for the fact the field died and they needed something else to push against. Either way, it's all under the umbrella of getting them into space. Either way, it's how it works. I like how Morgiana's eyes turn into innovator eyes. Yes, that's what we just sort of said. It's using innovator eyes or innovator eyes, or just being on a quantum spectrum. It's pretty cool. A GN pimple being squeezed, kind of. But yeah, it's very pretty. Let's just be honest here.
Oh, yes.
It's a super pretty effect. And I love this shot. So they're like, just shooting forward. Like, honestly, this is a super freaky situation. Like, if this fails, it's pretty much over. Or they all have to break up and use whatever thrust they can to get the rest of the way. You know? And I think technically Morgiana would have the best chance because it's already in Transam, you know? Though I sort of like the idea originally of them like being towed behind it, like up into space, but you know, I guess this will do. I mean, in theory, couldn't they have just stacked them all in front of the Neptate?
Yeah, the way they're all spread out and interlocked like that, to me, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because I mean, especially if they were
that's more surface area,
they would go on either side, basically.
That's exactly right. But in theory, they're sitting on top of the Watcher Lumiere system. In theory, they're like just sitting on it.
I mean, I guess, yeah, because you say it's hard light, so
it's hardish light, yeah. It's not like a full-on GN field, but it's thick enough to catch EM particles or EM waves, you know, and convert it to energy, quote unquote. Just borrowing the kinetic energy of EM waves. Tertium couldn't do this because arms would pop off from the stress. Reminds me of Spider-Man train scene. Yep.
A little bit.
T-posing into space. Yeah, but seriously though, to reduce drag and like surface area, I would have put the Wodan pod out front and then had everybody else stacked up towards the back, and then leave, in case they needed a Transam, leave the Morgiana right there in front of that. But I guess that's a little harder to do.
I mean, and
just locking arms.
Wodan pod on top of
or
to have you would have had to show it off early, but show off the
Aegis claw, basically, to hold everybody together
on top of Wodan pod, then Morgiana on top there,
I mean, if only there was some kind of combined form that would allow them to all fly together, that would be really convenient.
That sounds like crazy talk. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sounds like a crazy idea. Callbacks. Either way, they get into space, but not before Hiruto yells and reaches out and gets pulled into space
This is such a cool scene.
by Force Ghost Eve, which was a little weird,
go to
but cool.
And train under the Jedi Master who trained
exactly. It is interesting to see her in the Force Ghost colors instead of her own, like just translucent. You know, so it's kind of cool. They're like, yeah, she's here. She's on Eldora, sort of. And I like that. It was a nice scene. The last couple inches, you know, she helped him out there. It isn't super robots. Y'all are crazy. Okay. And we also Hiruto was able to truly finally reach Eve was when he fully embraced other people and moved forward. No, we're not going to talk. I feel them big enough to be drag created from being spread out and negligible. In theory, yes, but you know, the weird part is they're all facing the atmosphere instead of being on the other side of said field. Combined form and less structural integrity to exit atmosphere than Gunpla holding hands. Yeah, right. Oh, they interlock pretty good. Oh wait, I don't know what I'm talking about. We get the good old Tate Gundam starts falling apart. We got errors in every direction. The lightning starts coming off of it because it's busted. I mean, technically they finished it only enough for this to work, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, what's funny is it's the N8, so it's actually the Nate. It's Nate, not Tate. Okay, so Neptate, it's going away, and then
part of me wants to be mad that it didn't get that much use, but there's something so appropriate and right about this because I mentioned this in my notes. This scene right here as it floats away off into the blackness of space feels like one final time of basically saying goodbye to Eve, because this was the suit that basically he was trying to make with her for her,
so they could go travel. Though I'm going to point out the fact that this thing still wouldn't have been able to get off the surface of a planet on its own. So they would have had to at least get into orbit for it to work, or in the near a sun to help push it away.
He would have had to get friends in order to.
No. In the intro, where do we see the Neptate come from?
The sun.
And the Stargazer is powered by what?
BS.
Anyways, yes, so, exactly. And like he said, Rio Delta Plus said exactly the same thing. It was the armor that would take them out into the stars together. Dang it, dude, quit getting ahead of me on that. Like, he's making my points before I make them. It's kind of annoying. Yes, how the center backpack part just happened to look like a coffin as it floats away and he says goodbye to Eve. It's a little weird. Obviously he didn't make it with that intent, but you know, symbology and all that. So we in space now, y'all.
I just also just remembered the way the parts are like kind of floating around and tumbling a little bit. There's a similar scene in like the end of I think it's Char's counterattack, where you see the T-shaped psycho frame piece floating through space. I just thought about that. Yeah,
it's not meant for battle or war. Yeah, it had no weapons. Of course not. It was just meant for travel. All criticism aside, Nate will fly forever. It'll float until it reaches gravity and it's pulled down and destroyed by the atmosphere. I mean, it just is what it is. Either that or you just got now more space junk in orbit of Eldora. I mean, it just is what it is. Okay, so we in space now, y'all. We got people to fight. Like these guys.
And who are we fighting?
The new and the dubious.
I keep saying this, but I love the name Dubious Arch. There's just something about that amuses me so much.
Yeah, and if you kit bash it, you get the Nubius. It's the noob armor. So we get the showdown that we expected. all the Alus Gundams, and then the different One Eyes. He really heavily relied on Daughters in this, and I guess there was more Wyndhams as well, but we see Daughtresses everywhere, including the exact same clip art right two places there. And then we got to go into battle. That's in the wrong spot. Oh, that's right. We're breaking this down by individual battles. So we're going to go with what happened to the Dubious. He gets to fight Par. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's funny, until this battle happened, it did not occur to me why he spent so much time focusing on fighting his brother in the last episode. And then they explained it. Well, you know, the usual strategy to beat Trans Am is to let it time out. Or as they end up discussing, it's likely never going to time out because Alice wouldn't program it to do that. You know, so
He probably would. What I'm wondering is if did Alice not know there was supposed to be a timeout mechanism for it,
or he didn't research,
or was he like, no, it needs to be it. Let's remove this thing. We don't need safety protocols. Just make this thing go forever.
Go in bed, baby. Okay, love you. Yeah, so basically he wouldn't have the safety protocols. That's basically what they said. So the Trans Am system had a built-in safety protocol that it would only last like 3 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that. I forgot the exact number, to protect the GN drive. And so they make the massive assumption that Alice wouldn't have that and would just keep going. So what do they have? The two key components of guys who use Trans Am to fight and people who know how to fight it. So it's pretty cool how they have this breakdown discussion on how to beat this guy. So, am I on the right? Yes, I am. Okay. And then, well, you've got the pictures for this, so this is going to be interesting. So the main way they told him to do it is just keep firing in one spot, because odds are he's just going to keep zigzagging back and forth to attack you, and you're going to hit him regardless. So that's what he does. He's just like, I'm going to shoot here, and then I'm just going to keep hitting him. It's pretty cool.
And it works, because basically they're saying it's like he doesn't have any creative attack patterns with the thing. So just
very linear.
Keep pointing in that direction, and eventually 2 points will intersect, and boom.
They basically analyzed it. They said, he basically just doesn't have any thoughts on how to do this. He's just making very linear upfront attacks. Just keep shooting here. You're going to hit him. So that's what he do until eventually the GN drive overloads because there's no timeout. And so it gets a little erupty. Though in theory, if the GN drive overloaded and exploded, the whole thing would just be over. There would be no time to, cut him in half, which is pretty nice. Also, the resulting explosion, assuming it's still fully charged with particles, would be pretty epic. And pink, technically speaking. Because everything made of GN particles explodes pink in 00. Alice is a Mega Man boss, in a way. Well, like I pointed out, when Alice isn't fully in control of the thing, it's usually set to a specific attack pattern. So he's not really controlling directly most of these core units he's got here. So I do want this one. For the love of God, this kit better come out.
I know, right? And then there's somebody trying to kit bash one. Yeah.
It's going to be hard. There's a lot of modified stuff. Like, there's going to be a ton of scratch building. I mean, even the head's not the right shape. I do like the one-eye GN core, which looks interesting, even though it's square for some reason. So, all right, moving on. Oop, that's not in the right order. But we got Kazumi showing down against having a showdown, I should say, against the new. I forgot to put the actual image of the new out there front. The FNIC new. And despite the fact they trained on how to destroy funnels, they don't bother using that attack pattern at all. He just takes a whole bunch of hits from this thing, just keeps, taking a pounding, so to speak. And he's like, the only way to beat a funnel is to become a funnel.
I'm a funnel.
I was like, what?
Kazumi. I mean, it works, but still.
Can we get a meme of this? It just said, I'm a funnel now. Also, I love the fact that you get the comments scrolling across his live stream. By the way, I forgot to mention, he's live streaming this entire battle to all of GBN. So people can watch this thing.
Yeah, the comments going across the screen, that is a common thing on Japanese media streaming.
Makes sense. I just wish I knew what was actually being said.
I haven't a clue myself. Redimus is the one that can speak Japanese and just chooses not to. Not me.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. There you go. Okay. So either way, we get a nice Aegis maneuver here, which is cool. It is what it is. He wraps it up. I had a picture of that. For some reason, it's not there now. Once again, this is one of those.
And this is a cool callback to Seed, but only he's actually doing what they were Atherin was trying to do.
Yeah, I did actually get a screenshot of him wrapped around the new, but for some reason, it's not there. It's probably going to show up randomly somewhere else.
Probably.
He does wrap up the new Gundam and then just shoots it straight in the face like that.
I like how you can see the face because the head is like turned around, but you can see
the eye glowing. Yeah, you're right. That's funny. That's really funny. So what's interesting about this is the quote unquote cockpit area that's supposed to be facing the other way. You just never really see. The Aegis is technically meant to go that way, claw wise.
Yeah.
I gotta wonder if he has more of a svelte flight mode, kind of like the core Gundam, like where the legs and arms would go, a little bit and almost be like Crossbones-esque. Be interesting. How can they live stream at Eldora? Because Eldora, through them, is still directly connected to GBN.
It's the same reason why PAR was able to access the wiki, and they're able to access all their usual commands and controls.
Yeah. Also, just one hell of a data plan.
Future data plan.
I mean, they're transporting 5 life forms across the galaxy, so it is what it is. Can't remember how he beat these guests in time for a suicide run. Like how Aegis uses shoulders for top claws instead of having extra feet on the wrist. Yep. Makes sense. So my friends say the live stream comments mention how they beat Funnel like Stark Jagan versus Kshatriya. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. It would be funny if he was reading the comments while it was going on. He's like, oh, that's a good idea. It starts battling that way.
That reminds me, I have an idea of what I would have loved to have happened when we get to a certain important point later on. So I'll bring that up later.
Yeah. It just go. That's funny. Let's see here. Order, yosh.
Yeah. I just love that.
That's just funny. I do like the cut-ins that they do, and they seem to be doing them a lot more. Or maybe I just haven't been paying attention. But Arturo just now got here. Well, you're way late. I got a Nick Daly going on. We got a Carlos Gonzalez. We're up to 36. We need to get it to 40, guys. Also, make sure you're hitting that like button.
Smash that like button.
Yes. I also remembered to monetize the stream beforehand this time. I monetized it after last time. Okay, so we got the beat down of that one. But then actually technically before this, but still. We're not going in complete chronological order. Alus decided that, you know what? I don't think that Earth 3 copy is really going to cut it this time. I should probably make something new. I need new. Also, do you notice he has a propensity for things that have funnels or extra bits flying around? Almost as if he likes to control multiple small objects at the same time. So he's all about the swarm battle. He definitely Zerg. He definitely plays Zerg. But either way, we get this really freaking ridiculous reveal.
I love this thing. I remember because what we first see is the ship-like thing on his shoulder.
It flies through.
I think it's smashed into Cosme.
It is.
And I'm watching this, and I literally said out loud, I was like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah, he is a pro StarCraft player, except he can't figure out when he loses. Okay, so let's point out the obvious here. Turn X is usually pretty huge.
Mm-hmm.
This is of decent size and has 3 one-eyes in it. 3. Also, this is definitely a Gurren Lagann build because it has a face on its chest.
Totally.
Now, the Turn X is already a really weird design. This thing actually looks like it's supposed to transform into something else. It's weird.
I'm betting it's like, you know how they all have like the little core flyer or armor stand modes? I'm betting his is more of like some sort of spaceship or rocket ship or something.
It looks like some big ass spaceship, which is interesting. Also, it definitely is not amused.
No.
If you look at its chest plates, it's like, I'm coming to get you. But like, what he needed to exert so much control that he has 3 freaking one eyes in it. And he's still not about symmetry. He seems to not like symmetry at all. My eyes are down here. That's funny. You got to wonder if we actually get this, like how much or how huge will this kit be as an HG? I don't think there is a Turn X. I don't think there is a Turn X HG. There's only the one MG as far as I know.
There is, I mean, there was a no grade back when Turn A was out.
I've never seen.
There is a Turn A.
Yeah, we got a couple Turn A's not in the Build Fighters days. We got Turn A HG releases.
Yeah, because we got the regular one and the Shin.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought the Shin was pretty neat. Also, I like the fact that you could still blatantly see the Alus core, but then there's like just the thickness going on as well. Shoulder bit looks like the Metro Nui airships from Bionicle. Yeah, kind of. Okay, so from there, we actually get to see it go, I'm going to attack you with all my parts. Actually, I think this is when it came back together, but either way.
Actually, it briefly pops apart, which is a Turn Next thing. And then the next scene, when we see it, it's back together again. So
it goes back and
popped off and then popped back together. Because like, oh, wait, no, not yet.
Yeah, because it attacked with its original parts. Actually, what this thing kind of looks like is like the one version of like the in-space Ultrazord or Megazord. He's got like he's got the Mega Winger going on one shoulder and then a few other bits on the side. But it really does look like it should transform into a big old spaceship. Like just the parts,
like really some retro, like 50s, 60s style ship. Or something like
exactly. Or like a Sid Mead designed spaceship, technically. But how are we going to defeat the Turn X? I don't know, but Hiroto said he's not going to do it because May gets involved.
Yeah.
With the Aegean field. And then some very unorthodox tactics to take this thing down. Like, okay, so we skipped over some of the images here, but she decides to dodge said giant claw coming at her, wraps it up in a wrestling move, basically puts it in an arm lock, but then she's in no offensive position at all. So what does she do? The famous May maneuver. And ejects. You didn't get a shot of her ejecting, but he got the pictures for this, guys. So she ejects the mobile doll out and grabs a bazooka along the way.
Yeah, so this part, he pops off his other arm.
Yeah, she grabs his bazooka, right? She grabs his arm.
Yeah, this is his arm. And then after this, she pops out of the suit, kind of wraps around him, grabs one of his guns, aims, and fires.
If I remember correctly, he shot the arm off to get it in an attacking position, and then she jumped out and grabbed that arm and then fired it at him.
No, not this arm. There was another gun that was on his back.
Oh, either way, she grabbed another gun of his, regardless.
Yeah, which I just think is awesome. Like, she could have used her own blaster. She has them. But no, she just like, nope, I'm staking this just to add insult to injury.
Yeah. Okay, so after that, she decides she still needs to do some other stuff with the Wodan pod. So she pulls out a little controller. So let's just make a minor assumption here that the entire time that she's piloting the Wodan pod, she's in fact using this tiny controller inside it with the mobile doll.
Headcanon accepted. I like it.
She's literally doing.
She's all curled up.
She's literally doing this inside to drive this thing. I had no clue what happened when this first happened. It happened so quickly because the controller looks kind of like one of the backpack adapters from all of the HG kits.
It does, doesn't it?
That's what I thought it was when it first kicked off, and then I realized what is happening, and then she grabbed it, and then you got this shot. It's clearly a controller, And it even has WP on it for Wood on Pod.
Pod.
It's like, in case you didn't know what the controller was for. Yeah, so
I swear I recognize this from somewhere, but I don't. I tried looking up Bandai video game consoles because I knew there were a couple, but it doesn't really match up to any of them. So anybody recognizes this thing?
It honestly, it looks more like something that to remote control a car or something like that. A little bit. I'm sure somebody's already looking. May is Diva confirmed. That's funny. Insert Epic Gamer MLG music to confirm that she is always using the controller. Who confirmed?
I also like that when she's holding it, it makes like video game noises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you're in space. Either way, I just love that there's just this fine wire connecting to it. She's like, it's like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, this is just so out of the blue. I feel like if there was any hint of this prior to that, it would be acceptable. This was so nuts and out of nowhere. I feel like there's a deleted scene somewhere just to shorten an episode where we see her gaming, like something like that would have been like, cool. Now we get it. But yeah. Okay, so this is where she actually uses the not turn X, the turn or turn X turn, as Jerry's been saying. No, he keeps calling it the turn X turn. To basically ram itself with its own hand. It looks like an amalgam of video game controllers across history. May the Gunpla Gaming Girl makes sense. She was born in a game. I guess so. Looks like a Sega controller, kinda. But it's got the little screen on it, so that's much more modern thing. Plus the solid round, not D-pad or buttons. That's one reason I say maybe it looks like a drone controller, which also would make sense.
The closest I get is the Apple Pippin, which was also made by Bandai. One of the D-pads was like a circle thing like that.
Yeah.
Or its D-pad was like that, but the other side was just regular face buttons.
And there's something else that this is absolutely unlike any strategy we've seen her use. She's mostly a run and gun type.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, smart, like everything. And I get that they had 40 tries to come up with new ways to do shit, and we never saw the outcome of most of it. So she came somehow, fighting who they fought, came up with this idea. So it is what it is. She told the turn X to stop her hitting itself. I almost feel like if there was like some hint of this coming from last episode, like where we see Alice making some new stuff, like a hint of, ooh, something new is coming, rather than, oh, here's a new thing to fight. Oh, it's dead. You expect it to be this epic fight, and it was okay, but they really do wipe the floor with all these things that gave them so much trouble. So I guess 40 goes with pros. It was enough to change them all. Hey, we're up to 41 people watching. Excellent.
Woot.
So this is just proof we should start the stream an hour earlier, because at an hour we hit 40. Next week we might have to start early depending on what happens. Either way, turn X, go boom. I love that she's like coming right at its floating head, despite the fact it's got two eyes.
What's neat is he was detaching the head to get it to fly off.
Yeah.
And so it raises up and gets right in the path of the heat.
Oh, hey, let's not put my foot there. I just stuck my foot into my chopper without realizing what that was. I was like, I didn't realize what it was. Luckily, it's closed, but I was like, what am I? Whoa, okay, that's going to be sharp. Let's not step on that. Don't want to accidentally chip off some toes. Should have had her say nerf this at the finish. But either way, it looks pretty cool. Although for some reason, this version of Turn X head reminds me of something from Ben 10. I don't know why. I just get that vibe.
I can see that.
It's got some first or second season Ben 10 vibes before it started getting really strange. And screw the Ben 10 reboot. No. Original, and then Alien Force. Anyway, moving on. We get another new opponent, and I skipped the intro for that, but it's okay because after
Psycho
explosion,
Dots.
we get a Psycho Daughtress because Alice went. I think bigger is the way to go. Though to me, this wasn't so much Psycho Daughtress as it was Zeong, like because it doesn't have solid legs. It's got floaty legs, and it's got big laser fingers, which I know the Psycho technically had. But to me, it's more like a Neo Zeong. It's even got big old thrusters on its back in the same fashion. So I think they're
the main reason people do refer to it as Psycho Daughtress is because Hiruto actually says like at first he thinks it's a Psycho Gundam.
Yeah.
And then he was like, wait, no, it's a Daughtress, and he's kind of confused because those two things don't mix.
No, that's true. No, we got a lot of new faces in the chat. That's cool.
Hello, new people.
Hello, new people. But yeah, this thing was pretty epic, but it basically has the same fate of every giant thing. It grabs Hiruto, which I hope I still have a picture of. It grabs Hiruto. There we go. I got the picture of it. And basically, it's going to be over really soon because he's pointing his laser fingers at him. Wouldn't he technically shoot his own hand off? If he's
I was just thinking that too. It's like you're going to.
I mean, this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and then suddenly it explodes.
Well, not completely.
Mostly its head.
Better.
Also, how many one eyes does it take to control something this size? So yeah, its head gets all explodey for no reason whatsoever, and then we go, oh yeah, we had reinforcements. Although they basically stated that these guys were going to stay on the planet to help defend the bases. They kind of alluded to that right off the bat, and they're like, we'll stay here, we'll do this. And then at some point they went, nope, we're going to space. Because we already covered the fact that Kuadorn could carry one Gunpla. We already knew that. But also the fact that he flattens out so ridiculously in flight mode. By the way, his legs essentially disappear, and I don't know what this dangly sharp bit that points downward is from.
His nose, maybe? I don't know.
No, that has nothing to do with his face. It's like it's like he's literally in jet mode. He reminds me of from Digimon Tamers.
The ship.
We talked about this.
He combines with at the end to make Crimson mode, right?
Yeah, it was
it had some weird,
it's something knee. It's something knee. It's almost like it was named after a horse. It'll come to us eventually. No, it's not a beard thing. It's not even coming from his face. You can see the hard line that's past his face. Either way, it's interesting. But I love this shot. It's just so cool. We've already seen him. It's not Brony. It's something like that. I can't think of what it is. But I love this. It's just freaking fun. Kuadorn's flight mode looks like Elf Bullock's flight mode. Yeah, I could see that. Or the Elf Bullock. Did you ever talk about how Neptate was in Eve's color scheme?
It's not.
No, it's like it was green.
Eve and Sarah have virtually identical color schemes. Maybe Eve is a little bit paler, but
no, I'm pretty sure that was not.
And Neptate is sea green.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no. It wasn't. It was not Eve's color scheme. He's gonna be sold as a transport vehicle. I am down if they give us a figurized standard Kuadorn.
I hope they do, considering how much he's been in this.
Yeah, Grani. That was the name of it.
There we go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he turns into a whole-on vehicle here. By the way, look at what his legs do. It's like there's stuff happening here. It's just big old dragon.
Almost looks like they blurred out part of it just so it's like, we don't know what happens here. Neither do you.
Yeah.
Shut up. Let us draw. Let us keep going.
Chin/knee. But yeah, his legs just sort of disappear. Okay, so he does have his chin spike here, but that is way. The thing they showed was so much longer. Obviously, it was
stylized for effect.
Stylized for effect, but good lord. Also, he continues to have the weird ethereal glow even in space. That just makes him feel like he's not a part of anything. It's a cool effect and black thing on black background if it needs something, but yeah. It's really wide. Cool. Yeah. Mecha Green Goblin. Yeah. Looks like an IBO mobile armor. He's got some aspects, maybe. Censor the Dragon's lower end. Good lord. Yeah. Dude, they need to make a Kudorn kit, but it would have to be massive because I want it big enough for it to ride on. Also, he's still kind of big compared to the Gunpla, at least from what we've seen. And here he looks kind of smallish.
Yeah, I was about to say it because I'm looking. I have a tertium right up next to my head, and I'm like,
yeah,
looking at that and thinking he's not in this shot. He's not that wide in comparison.
Yeah,
I mean wingspan, yeah, but that's
body wise, yeah,
nothing.
So I mean, then again, this is based off of a Mark III, which is a pretty damn big Gundam. So I don't know, but he goes into supercharged mode. Sorry, I jumped ahead by accident. And then they just start flying through all the One Eyes. They're like, we'll handle everything else. That's what it comes down to. No, we'll just take on everyone else. You guys can go ahead and attack Alus.
And they do. As they fly, things just explode around them.
Essentially. Kudorn is as big as Hashmal. I assume he's bigger. It's more Kutan size than Neo Zeon. I don't know what that is. Pancake Dragon.
It is a very flat dragon.
Yeah. I mean, even when he was sort of flying around, I guess when I saw him in the previous battle on the planet, he didn't look that flat, but you know, it is what it is. So is it time?
I think it's time.
Is it time?
Ichigo!
Let's form Voltron! Let's bring them together.
If we were still putting our faces in here, I would have had us put our faces in this.
I had the idea to put them whenever it fully comes together and have our sunglasses on. So yes, go Power Rangers. And yes, hopefully I will remember to do a Megazord sequence has been activated overlay to this whole scene.
So something that I'm convinced about
yes,
is that just as they start to do this, Kazumi, who is we've already established is live streaming all of this, reaches over, turns on a media player, and that's where
some
the theme
type
song
of music
is coming from.
Some theme song is playing. Yeah, you're right. I activate spell card polymerization. Yeah, but how are you going to fuse 4 cards? Just fuse everything. So then a thing that we all went, what's happening? Except for one of us who had some inkling that maybe there was going to be somehow parts for a much larger Gundam as soon as we saw these parts. But as your notes even point out, no wonder they held on to some of the final kits, because it would have been spoilers. So either way, we get the actually, what's really funny, the core Gundam turns into Tyrannosaurus, because this is exactly how the T-Rex converts its legs. Now, I have not built the core 2 yet. It's still sitting over there. I have assuming that these parts are extra from somewhere else. It doesn't just do this part.
I don't know. I haven't built mine either. I know the core 1 sure as heck doesn't have these parts.
Yeah. So there is a Neo Fusion that uses 5 materials. Interesting. Kazumi plays Hatena. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of the theme song.
This is Kazumi's plan. I don't know that this was Kazumi's plan, although I'm sure they came up with this when they were all at the meeting together and he wanted to make things more modular, and that's why the Aegis Knight was in pieces. But I think part of the plan was the Neptate was part of the crazy plan, like to get into space that way, because they were talking about how to get in space. It seems like it's a different adapter when joining with the Wodon pod, and who knows. I assume that it says that these are extra parts. Once again, I haven't built the thing just yet. So
either that or it doesn't actually have these parts, and that's just for the purposes of the anime.
Either way. Though it does look like very purposeful things. Wodon pod comes with crotch adapter for the core 2. Well, there we go. It connects a different way. So thanks for spoiling that, Jerry. I haven't built the damn thing yet. Fucking commenters always spoiling shit. Speaking of which, hold on. I'm going to get to this. So I didn't get to watch the episode live because the subs were not working during the premiere. One, the premiere was an hour late. Two, the subtitles, no subtitles at all, were working during the live stream. So I had to wait to come back. And what did I do? I logged into Facebook, started poking around for a minute, and what did I see right across the front of a Gundam group? The nice image of the combination. I was like, dude, literally the live stream just ended 10 minutes ago. Fuck you for sharing that spoiler.
I lucked out because
I told you not to go on Facebook.
The network at my work was blocking Facebook, so I couldn't actually see anything. And then managed to get a message from you on my phone, and you basically say like, "Don't go on Facebook." I'm like, "Okay, I can't anyway." But
yeah.
What's funny is when I did actually get to watch this, I was just finishing up my lunch break, so I was still sitting at my desk. I had my headphones on, and when they start combining, I like kind of forgetting myself because I was so surprised. And when it's like, "Excuse me," out loud, and I was like, "Oh crud!" They could probably hear me say that.
Well, other people are saying that their version of the premiere had subs. Mine did not. I even clicked other languages, and no subs were coming up. And then I saw lots of people commenting, "Why are there no subs?" So maybe it was a regional thing. Yeah, but people posting shit on Facebook ruined that for me. I'm like, fuck. But either way, I just noticed that they misspelled connecting. One N instead of two. Yeah. By the way, I never even said that this was episode 25, To the Tomorrow in Vision, which is a really weird name. Like,
To the Tomorrow I Envision.
Yeah. So after they dock, the legs extend and rotate and do all kinds of cool things, and we finally get to see the giant crotch skirt. Like, it's even excessive for the final form. Like, take it down 20%. Actually,
when I eventually make this thing, because I'm probably going to experiment with like not having that there to see how it looks, because even I think that looks a little bit on the silly side.
Yeah. See, even Richard Black said he got spoiled because somebody's posting it on Discord. Yeah. We actually had to delete the people who were posting it in the general chat on Discord and said, no, you put this in the spoiler section, because dumbass. It wasn't until like a day or two later we finally put it in the kit reveals. Big PP energy, very much. So this is such a weird transformation for the Wodan pod, but I get it. Also, you really start to see now, especially since we saw the not Turn X, how the Wodan pod fits into that universe. Once again, I've never seen that, so check out the Discord. It's fun. No. Anyways, then we get the Aegis Knight flying in as it comes apart. Actually, if you notice, there's actually a little bit of a core flyer left over from his weapons. I didn't even notice that until the end. But like, there's a chunk that stays behind as the chest and the arms and the legs and everything come apart.
Yeah, when you look at the when they are about to dock, you see like the same sort of like purge connecting thing, like he does with the armors, and you get to see the parts that are left behind. And so for a GS Knight, there's the little core flyer thing. For
we're getting there.
Valklander, it's most of the suit.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Just you took the pictures. You should know.
Yeah, but you should have seen that by now. You're not looking.
We're not there yet. It's not there yet. They're coming. That's after they. No, it's not. That scene isn't until after the final attack. Dork. Anyways,
I'm talking about the combo thing, but
one thing. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You see those things after the attack is done.
I'm talking about on the screens.
I didn't see that part. Either way, one thing I forgot to point out earlier is when the Neptate armor dispatches, he has no hands on the core Gundam.
I saw that too.
I forgot to point that out. Yeah, they literally kit bashed their kits. Yes, they did. I mean, they kind of pulled what the Tri-Fighters did, what they said, hey, we need to readjust all these parts so we can slap everything together when necessary. But yes, the idea that Cosme basically is the linchpin here, because the last couple bits wouldn't go on without him. Also, it would look really funny to see a tiny little core fighter hanging out the top of core Gundam. Also, the fact he's not using the Jupiter armor at all. He's actually ejected the Jupiter armor, which is just somewhere.
It's gone now.
It's just gone. I was like, wouldn't that be a pretty useful thing to also attach? Extra thrusters, guns, funnels, the things. Either way, we see the arms and the shoulders slap on here, which really reminds me of something from Armada. This reminds me of the Optimus combiner from Armada.
What?
Or Energon.
Jetfire or with Overload?
I don't remember.
The shuttle or the big missile truck?
I don't remember. It might have even been where Optimus. Maybe it's RID where it's his super form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it might be.
Yes, because the shoulders and come on for the super form. Yes.
Yeah. So the armor or the Aegis parts come onto him. They lower down upon him, and then the head pokes through, and then he even gets the crown, which is pretty cool. And then I skipped the picture, but the arms are possibly the legs. I guess it's the arms.
I think the arms are the legs from the Aegis Knight.
Yeah, I couldn't. Well, because these are the shoulders, regardless, and you could see the other hands hanging off the side. So I guess that's his legs that come on to be the hands of this. Sub arms. Yeah, I thought about that. Do we have sub arms? Where do we have extra arms? We'll have to look later. So either way, and I love the Valkylander's crown flies around to attach to the front. This reminds me of something straight out of Beetleborgs. Or
a little bit, yeah.
Little Kamen Rider-ish as well.
It's all this is very Gao Gaigar.
And there's Gao Gaigar as well. Fine. Make a Gao Gaigar reference.
Final fusion.
Either way. Then we get the Valkylander ejecting all of its extra parts. I guess this was its tail and other bits that it's rocketing. This happened so fast, I had the hardest time catching just this. Like, I had it at 50% speed and still only caught this shot. And so he ejects the wings, he ejects that. And of course, if you built the kit, virtually everything else is just add-on armor, so it's not that big a deal. Gunder, okay. It can use the shoulder, arms, yes, General Grievous style. Okay, interesting. Transformer Energon. See, that's right, I said Energon. It's kind of hard to remember. It's like RID, Energon, and the other one I said all kind of happened together, Armada. So this is pretty cool. I like this shot. So we get the wings that attach right there. Although, one thing I just noticed, that backpack there that came from the Aegis Knight looks a whole lot like the Earth-Re's backpack.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, with the thruster coming through it and everything. And I'm a little weirded out by the fact that the Wodan pod has to face backwards the whole time. Hey, guys. I want to fight, too. This is bullshit. What's happening? Stuck facing the wrong direction the whole time.
It's okay. May's not in it anymore. She's off on the side.
Yeah. And since I don't have the EX Valkylander yet, I got to wonder, can we borrow parts from regular Valkylander to do this? Because backpack is essentially the same from what I know. Tail and all that, essentially the same. So I got to wonder, can we do this with the regular Valkylander parts and have a special version? I think it's going to be heavy behind. Final fusion, even the tail. Yep. 3D model of Aegis Knight actually hid the fact that the heels are hands. Nice. The V, just the V fin, no have. Correct. Well, I mean, you could still take off the excess V fin from the thing. It'd just be the other type. Also, the Wodan pod's weapons are facing backwards. Those would probably be useful.
They flip around.
Did they flip around? I thought they did. It should have just been sides.
Something I noticed when we see its final attack. Not that it's used, but it was something I noticed when I was looking at the picture.
Oh, yeah. I forgot the tail attaches for no apparent reason. I guess
it
it's
probably
a tripod.
attaches because that thing is so unwieldy. It basically needs to be a tripod in order to stand up.
Well, the Wodan pod's tail is back there, and then the tail plugs to it. So I guess, yeah, it's like a tripod. But as we see later, it can go on a stand. So it is what it is. It's a tail. Yes, we know it's a tail. Things looks terrible in my opinion. Too wonky, clunky, and chunky. That's what happens when you throw random fucking things together. It's gonna look weird. Apparently,
I
shape of
love this
transformation. Well, the shape of the transformation is supposed to be dragon-like, referencing a story about 4 celestial beasts. Cool. And then we get the final part of the combination where the fin from the logo, not fin, but the jewel from the logo pushes through, which I guess is, it's not exactly the core Gundams. It's very, very similar. Well, I guess it is the regular chest. So the extra jewel that's below for the core 2 stays in the back, so to speak. It's weird. And presumably in the kit, this is something you insert, not push through.
If you look at the Aegis Knight chest, which this is from, you can see
hole.
that there's a little peg holes in it.
Looks like a Megazord. It very much looks like a Megazord. And then it pulls out the RG core from its chest. I mean, it really reminds me of the RG core that was in the build burning, or the try burning. Whenever Sakai is talking to it, I bet it's the same sun animation, or at least really close. So there's your stupid Soul Zero, even though they don't call it that. No, I'm not calling it that. I honestly think it's stupid for the sun to come out of this, because it's not technically part of the planet system. Technically. And it's not like the sun is a combination of other things. It's annoying.
I still like it. You have no joy in your heart.
I think it needs little Pluto flyers. The little Pluto thingy flying about. Yes, this is a straight up Megazord transformation. Even with the ridiculous stuff going on behind it. It reminds me of Ninja Storm a little bit, or a couple other ones like that.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Wild Force a little bit with the way the legs are.
Yeah, some Wild Force. But just the idea that like it's just random collection of bits and pieces.
Oh, it's very. It's a little bit like the Zeo Megazord too, the first one. With
I guess
minus the fact that the legs are made up of 2 things, but you have the waist part that is a single unit with where the upper legs are its legs.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement, as I stated earlier, that the crotch armor and the thing are way too damn big. Like, this is just absurd. They could have scaled that to make more sense. Also, I don't know if I told you this or I told Eric this. I get Devil Gundam vibes from this.
Like, a little bit. I can see that.
Really big bottom end, smaller top end, big old honking arms sticking out the side, weird tail section coming out the back, like earlier Devil Gundam before it goes ridiculous, But yeah, it's very interesting. And the fact like the hidden hands inside the feet is totally a Megazord thing.
Very
like
much
100% a Megazord thing. Also, it looks like the drawing from the temple on the title card. Yes. Somebody showed that off in the Discord. You remember the stone carving that they showed at the beginning that we thought was a sacred beast? It's that. 100%. 100%. Except the legs look a little but it is what it is. I know I told you, Eric. I didn't know if I told him. The Gundam did not skip leg day. No. Big booty Devil Gundam. Yep, exactly. It looks like Kit Bash from different scales. I mean, they're all HG and it's HD and SD, and then whatever the grandpa technically was that the core Gundam is based off of. That was the
speed grade.
Speed grade. I want to say free grade. I knew that wasn't a thing. That's not what FG stands for. So either way, we get this big honking monstrosity. And then another one of these guys shows up, which also this is where I say it looks more Neo Zeon-ish, especially with that backpack.
A little bit, yeah.
And now it looks
pointing that out to me.
And they're very similar to the Jupiter's back thrusters as well. We get a different shot of it. But they're like, I'm getting in the way of my giant cannon. The other giant Dachtris has arrived, basically. And it fires all of its beam cannonry at it, and he goes, nope.
No.
He neos it. He neos it. Just
no.
whatever's behind them is getting destroyed. Though, if I remember correctly, the first time the Daughters showed up, they destroyed like a buttload of One Eye, just missed the shot and just blew up all the One Eyes behind them anyways. And they went, okay, why would they be willing to blow up? You gotta remember, those aren't real troops anyways. So it doesn't matter. But I love this. He's just literally like, nope.
Talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand. There you go. It has the moon behind it, fitting with ReRISE having the sun behind it. I mean, behind it. I mean, that was so symbolic. I don't think that technically happened. Like, I think that was literally for our benefit, like a Megazord transformation. All that shit going on, the people there don't see that. That was for our benefit. Also, I saw in your notes you pointed out the GN particles, flowing from the wings.
Yep.
So technically, this thing is GN powered. It counts for double October.
There you go.
Combiner is more like Power Rangers Lost Galaxy.
Yeah, that was another one I was thinking about because the gorilla
but
legs.
Yeah, but Lost Galaxy had a ton going on up top. Also, you can totally see the tail here. It's a lot better. It's got to just be for balance. Either way.
Mm-hmm.
His nano laminate hands. Yep. And he basically just says, I'm just going to punch right the fuck through you. I love this. Not a big beam cannon, not a sword. Punches.
Well,
and then, and there's an and then. But he didn't like summon a giant sword and then slice it in half.
He reaches back, goes, I'm going to punch you. And he's like, please don't punch me. He's like, no, I'm going to punch you.
Yeah, nope, I'm gonna punch you. Please don't punch me. I'm gonna punch you. I do like the color separation that I didn't notice before on the May leg thrusters. They got the nice purple inset here, so that means I'm gonna have to paint that when I get there.
Yeah, I can guarantee that kid is.
That's all blue. I guarantee it's all blue. Also, very beetle-like. Now that I look at it, it's got the like carapace kind of coming off the back.
Yeah,
it's very bug-like. Now, I think it would have been neat if they did make it more of 4 legs, like if they gave it more of a chariot mode, so to speak. This thing, I guess, has Oh yeah, so the Aegis Knight arms just fold up like this to beef out the shoulder armors. But in theory, it could totally do. Help me out here. Gujin. You can totally do Gujin reback. Extra arms. I need more axes.
Extra arms means I can hold extra weapons.
I can hold extra weapons, which they hold no extra weapons in this. So maybe we'll see it one more time and they'll just hold all the weapons. It's got beam sword on that arm. Yes, he does have a beam sword in which he uses to slice through the middle. I love. Okay, they've done the through the chest of something perspective like 4 times in this series, and it's either somebody shooting. This time it was cutting. It was actually really cool. It's like,
it doesn't get old.
No, it's like literally like, oh man, that's a nice giant doctor she got there. It'd be a shame if somebody cut it in half.
I just love that he punches it and then he pops the blade through the thing, and it's not like it's more like a beam broadsword. Yeah, because the thing is as wide as its forearm.
Is it me or does it seem to have extra Barbotosi looking V-fin there? Like, I don't recall it having these. Like, this part, but did it have these? Hold on, let's go back. I must know. Yeah, I guess it does. Hold on.
No, can you show me?
Yeah, look. Okay, so barely, but they're like just slightly angled.
Yeah, it looks like the artist put a little bit of extra flourish on them.
Yeah. That's very I mean, that reminds me of the custom or the other SDs that Par had laying around. Actually, that horn looks like a combination of both of them. The ones we saw before, the dragon and the other one. I wonder if it could also fire the Wodan Pod's weapons. That's what we're talking about. In theory, the Wodan Pod's weapons should be side skirts with weapons on board. It should, but it just doesn't get. Oh, that was to that point. Has more succubus hip wings than dragon back wings. Yeah, it is weird. The wings are not really part of the backpack. They're like along the hips. Which is what it is.
I thought it almost looks like it's a ribbon on its back, which is a little bit odd, but
are all the build divers piloting or is it just Hiruto? I assume that this is just Hiruto because everyone else seems to still be in their own Gunpla.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we
this is
see
just Hiruto.
because we see that May is off on her own. We see the Valkylander off on its own. We see the little core flyer thing. Though I don't think we see any reaction shots from Kazumi. Now that I think about it,
not after this, no.
But we do see reaction shots from May and from Par.
Yeah, because even when they activate the giant blast that's coming up, it's only Hiruto. So right here, as we get the nice crossover between Hiruto and Hinata yelling the same thing. I didn't write down what it was. Did you?
No.
I figured it was I will
something
hit my
about
target.
like and prayers or something like that.
Yeah, our hopes and prayers are in this. So yes, you called it that they would be overlapping the ceremony with the battle. So you got one thing right.
Yay!
Some
I'll take my victories where I can. Thank you very much.
Dude, we hit 50. We had hit 50 viewers there for a second. We're at 48. Next week, I want to see 50 people in the first hour. Tell your friends. And then we get the definitely Power Rangers attack.
And this is like, to me, this is like all the different planets coming together. Because you even see like the orange one has rings.
It's supposed to represent the all planets attack or some shit. Cool. It's his final attack, technically.
I think they refer to it as Grand Cross or something like that, maybe.
I think so. I don't have that translation there, but I think you're right. Oh, I skipped where it turned gold. The whole thing turns gold.
We went into hyper mode.
It did, though it doesn't have Trans Am, which makes me sad. But yeah, I mean, this looked cool, but it was straight out of every Sentai series ever, you know.
And I absolutely love it, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that's what it is. And then we get magic circle time. And it's a multi-layered magic attack. So I think part of this is similar to Kuadorn's elemental attack that he used, which I'm guessing they borrowed as some inspiration. But then as we see from another angle here in a second, that there's a lot more going on. Also, it totally looks like there's a sacred beast right in the middle of it, right here, glowing.
A little bit, yeah.
Hyper Transam. There we go. Magic circle from robot to magic. It happens. No, we didn't skip that because we're doing the Alus section last. We're going in sections, not in chronological order. We're going to discuss Alus and everything that happened to him at near the end. Okay, we're just going through the ReRISE Gundam section. We're going back to Alus shortly. So yes, we're skipping things. So here's the multi-layered actual attack and how fucking huge it is.
Yeah.
Like, that thing is massive. And I think it looks like it's just 2. I thought there were 3, but it's 2. But it still looks ridiculous. And so it starts charging up its beam.
I'm not going to fire my laser.
Yep. And then Alus fires his laser. We'll get to the other stuff in a minute. We're just dealing with this particular battle.
Everybody, cool your jets. Serenity now.
And then this happens. Giant multicolored attack. It's so pretty. It's all the colors.
It is so cool.
It's basically like the dragons showing the true meaning of firebending to Aang and Zuko. Seriously, why aren't you watching Avatar? It's on Netflix.
Because I'm watching other things on Netflix. I've been skipping around Star Trek.
No, you need to watch Avatar if you have not. Or we can't be friends. Either way, I love the fact that this beam attack is so big, it's actually bigger than the moon's attack. Which is... We've seen how big a hole it can make. And then it literally just pushes back until the beam cracks. And then we get and just like that, the holographic purple man realized the mistake that he had made.
I was showing this thing to my son because I wanted to show him the combo thing and stuff, and we got into this part. Yeah. And Pikamus looks at me and is like, why is he not moving? Why he's just standing there watching the attack?
Because he's got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, I was like, he's a computer program being projected in there. There's not a lot of places he can disappear to.
He's built in. Yeah. But literally, I liked it. I can't remember what. Oh, that's from it's from DBZA. And I think it's the Yeah, it's one of the movies. I think it's Super Android 13 movie. Where it kept pausing, and it was at that moment that the green man from space realized his mistake. That kind of stuff. That's what I thought here. Is like literally it was, and just at this moment, the purple holographic man realized that he had been doing things wrong. Alice made a calculated decision, but man, is he bad at math. Well, it's really it's easy to be bad at math when you literally don't know that there's other equations. The one thing the divers have 100% done is surprised Alice at every turn. 100%. And then we get, oh look, the moon's blowing up. I like this how it looks like it's deflecting, like they just sort of missed a little bit, like it didn't go straight down the barrel. But
that's something that I was thinking about, because they go into this specifically saying we don't want to kill Alice. And I'm kind of like, then why did you go to super powerful mode, fire the biggest laser beam that you could come up with? And of course, it's because they're not hitting him directly. They're hitting him off to the side to disable things.
Yeah, they wipe out the cannon. After all of his hard work. Do you know how many one-eyes it took to rebuild this thing?
I mean, we can always get more one-eyes, but it's an inconvenience.
Well, not anymore. Because the moon explodes. Most of it, anyways. But here is the scene where you see all three of them on the screen together, and you realize, oh yeah, Valkulander's literally over there by itself. May's over here by herself. And then the Justy Jet is over there. Whatever that technically is. There's bits and pieces of it. We haven't built
Valkulander looks really cool in this color scheme, by the way.
It reminds me of the Shia Quanta in that color scheme.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But what's interesting, I understand that the ReRISing Gundam, which actually is the first time I've even bothered saying the name this whole time, is glowing gold. Why is everyone else glowing gold that's not attached to it?
To sell kits?
Reasons? To sell one box set.
May isn't the mobile doll May isn't included in that set.
We're going to talk about that here in a second. Either way, what I find interesting about this, in a way, it reminds me of the full assimilation from Build Fighters Try, when the cockpit goes gold and everything, when they're fully like one with the Gunpla. I think this would technically count. GN particles.
Probably.
Yes. GN particles. Gia Quanta. Yep, see?
Jabro dirt.
Surprisingly, there's not a lot of Jabro dirt left after this. It's just a jet. Also, this is a really awesome scene when you see everything explode, and then you see all the little. So, like, the shockwave is destroying a bunch of one-eyes. And then somewhere is Kuadorn. Like, away from the giant explosion is Kuadorn and the Tertium, and they're like, oh yeah, we should probably run away because we didn't know they were going to do that.
Seriously, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, this is another amazing bit of artwork. That's a good catch on my. Yeah, that's a good
cinematography on this series. Just damn.
Yeah, what is the engagement rate on GTube right now for all this?
100%, it seems, particularly since I think the administration is manipulating that a little bit.
I don't know. It seems like they're showing it to everybody. Jeremy Osha just got here. Sucks to be you, Jeremy. We talked about everything so far. You're going to have to go back and rewatch the last hour and 53 minutes, Jeremy. I'm sorry. Either way, we move on. So now let's talk about the actual kit release here. So this is the information that was released with the Aegis Knight. These were the pictures people were showing online. And yeah, there you can see that the May weapons are facing forward. Or I'm sorry, the Wodan Pod weapons are facing forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm already I'm already halfway there, so I mean, I might as well get the Aegis Knight now and the Aegis Commander. I don't think I was planning on getting the Aegis Knight, but now I kind of need to.
I was kind of the same thing. It's like, I like the Aegis Knight, but it's not that great. Oh, well, no.
Yeah.
And I have to get another Core 2.
You don't have to.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Bandai declared so.
Well, one thing you'll notice, it's on the tiny little crappy stand, but the tail is still dragging on the ground.
Yeah.
So it needs that. Well, if you've ever used these stands, you need something to prop them up because they will go, wah, they spin really easy. I'm amazed that they make it look so good. Like, but let's talk about the Final Attack, Final Battle box set. Do you want to point out the interesting
why they had it all blacked out
silhouetted? Yeah,
because like it's
no, you're fine. But well, let's just talk about the fact it's all going to be gold swirly plastic. Did you notice the weird thing about this set?
That includes the Uranus armor, not the Jupiter.
Yeah. Why is it? They must have changed something after the kits were designed, because it's the U-Raven. It's not the Jupiter. And we know the Jupiter survives.
It doesn't use any of the. It doesn't use any of the armor
older
pieces.
Kits.
Just the core too.
Yeah. So it doesn't even need the armor. But because that's the only armor that the Core 2 is released with, that's got to be the only reason. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an interesting set. But you can tell right there, that's totally painted gold. At least the hands and stuff. It's weird, but there's the blatant U-Raven. Like,
yeah.
It's got at least 3 different colors of gold. Or orange,
I kind of
dig yellow.
It. I'm wondering if I'll change my mind if I ever get it in hand.
Yeah. Oh, one thing is the okay, so there's the chest gem. Clearly the one on the other one is way too big to actually be the same piece. So it's not gonna swap out. Yeah, see, it's clearly way too big for the Aegis Knight there. But I mean, it's interesting, and we got the beam blades, so that's something. I don't know. Got some stickers. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this actually looks pretty neat.
Aegis looks darn good in that color scheme.
Yeah, because
that neon green that they got going with this too, it speaks to me. But I think we've already established I like my bright shiny colors.
I mean, it's nothing I'm gonna have, but it's interesting.
I would love to have this. I'm probably not going to get it because I don't anticipate this being necessarily easy to get. Plus, it's a whole bunch of kits, so it's going to be an expensive thing to get all in one go.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to the overall price of it. I'm sure
it's. I wasn't paying attention to the price, but I can. Yeah. I mean, it's got 3 HGs, one of which is a larger one,
and
plus an SD kit that is more of an HG than an SD. So
yeah, also totally painted because that green is not stickers. The metallic green.
Oh, I don't even want to think about the stickers, particularly on the Valkylander.
Well,
does the Valkylander have regular eyes, or does it have the Innovator eyes?
Regular, because he's not in Trans Am.
Hmm.
That would only be in Trans Am. If they sell a Trans Am Valkylander, they need to have those eyes. Isn't it about 6,000 yen or an 8,000 yen? I literally don't know. I've seen it for sale. I literally just paid no attention to it because I didn't know what the hell it was. I do think the Valkylander is the best of the bunch. I don't need it. It does look funny, and it looks like a parrot in dragon mode. I think it
doesn't help that the person, whoever took that picture, did not do that mode any favors.
No. There is a 52 Toys special edition parrot that it has some translucent, and it's a lot of these colors. So that's all I see when I look at this. It's supposed to be like a tropical rainforest version. I can't get it, unfortunately.
Sad.
The Wodan Pod, I think, looks the best because it's just gold. I mean, like, it is what it is. But it's still
has a little bit of green accents on there, but that works.
Yeah, it would have been cool if they gave us a May. I mean, what's one extra kit at this point?
I would be surprised if that's not like a P Bandai thing somewhere down the road.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to Alus, because believe it or not, Alus got some character development. to some degree,
or at least some expansion on his character or
yeah.
explanation.
Egg drop soup and chives. That's funny. Is that 6 different core Gundams now? What? Oh, maybe
1, 2, 3,
4 original plus 2. If there's a clear version, and then plus this, yeah, at least 6 different cores. Yeah, correct. Okay, so let's talk about what happens with Alus in this. So early on, we get that cool scene where they have the nice distraction that we talked about. And he's basically just been scanning the planet, looking for the divers, looking for any activity. And it's just been quiet. So he's just like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and build my gun.
We actually see like the one eyeballs going around and
fixing the cannon. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then even see him floating over the planet holographically, which was pretty cool. And then this pops up, which is pretty neat. You actually get a notice, which is, it's a little weird, not alert or anything else like that. Notice. What? So yes, I got to do a lot of translating in this episode. I was very happy.
You look very happy about this.
I did. I mean, like once I finally completed the alphabet, it made life a little easier. Not to mention, flexing the translation muscles is always nice, so to speak. So once again, he's been looking for stuff. So, he found some stuff happening. So the scanner did show that there were 4 floating objects happening. 4 floating objects, boats, in fact. And we got this word. Did we mention it earlier that we saw that they made big wooden Gundam figurines?
We didn't mention that, no.
Okay, I thought you mentioned that early on.
It's in my notes, but we kind of skipped over that.
Yeah, because it was in this part. It was in the Alice part for me. So basically, he sees things. He assumes that they're going for the orbital elevator, and he's like, "Go, my Windams, destroy them,
fly, my pretties."
Basically, he's like Lord Zed sending the Tengus down. How did those fly from the moon every time? I never understood that.
Jabro dirt,
I guess. So of course he finds out that those aren't Gundams. And I like the fact that it looks like a grandpa Gundam, like carved out something wherever they found giant chunks of whatever to make it. So, and Goros is like, well, I guess we can do that. And I don't understand why. It's like, thanks. Like, it's a distraction. You're supposed to be a military leader. Don't you understand? But I'm just glad that,
go be distracting.
Yeah, I like that. It's a wooden Gundam going to be P. Bandai. Yeah, pretty much. Wood on Pod looks like Big Brain Sumo. That's funny. Oh yeah, they did have a custom stand for that too. It wasn't just a base clear one. That's fun. So he shoots it down, and he goes, "Wait, that's not them. What the heck?" And I figured that there would have been like a gap there, but I guess they were using that as a distraction because they needed to get Milog high enough for them to launch. And then there was actually a discussion of him needing to drop the shield temporarily over Mount Milog to let them out. I guess. Oh no, so they could fire weapons. That's what it was. They couldn't shoot their blaster.
They said it for visibility.
I don't think it was that. I thought it was the weapons. Like he needed to fire the Rex Buster and he couldn't do it from either way. I don't know. Maybe it was just to clear visibility because it did do that when they opened the shields. It cleared the clouds. Even though I guess Kuadorn could have done that since he can command. Anyways, so Alice actually gets another alert on his screen with a fuck ton of stuff for me to translate. So first, you get the little pop up there. It says Milog Mountain, which is cool. And then you've got alert. Object detected entering special warning area, which is weird. Computing threat level. Defense system operating status normal. Response possible. So they're like, okay, we can shoot at it. I think that's because he said that, wait, we can actually fire at it. He detected it because he dropped the shields, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they said that the danger for dropping the shield was that Alice would be able to see exactly where they are.
Exactly. Well, when he said visibility, I thought he was talking about that Alice would see them because the shields were down, not that they were clearing their own visibility.
They mentioned earlier that dropping the shields mean Alice could see them, but they also said that they needed the visibility so that they can see what they're doing to go out.
It seems like they would want the cloud cover. I mean, because what they do to get into space would definitely draw some fucking attention. Though the funny part is he actually misses that entire thing, which is the fun part about this, is that he sees all this stuff and then suddenly the divers are in space with him, so he's actually starts scanning the planet again before the divers show up. So we get fire control system protection released and then target coordinates. So he's actually targeting a lot of places on the planet all at once. And we get operating status, energy charging, target lock maintained, scanning data on firing obstruction. So it's pretty interesting. A whole lot of shit. And then everything off to the other side is still all the same from the normal readout of the weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. Okay, so he's got to go because he's got to prepare lunch. Cool. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Okay.
And then they're just progressing through it. So once they finally get into the battle, and then you have Freddy's speech written down?
I don't have the entirety of the speech, but basically, Freddy calls out to Alice, telling how he knows that Alice is the reason that his people were able to live and thrive on Eldora because he helped protect the planet. And he says that it's sad that they've been hurting each other without understanding. And I have written down, this is basically this idea of hurting people without understanding is like the overall message of just about every Gundam series.
Yeah, very much so.
And he says they will cherish and protect the world that the ancients left behind, so he doesn't need to do anything anymore. And then he thanks
Alice for protecting the planet. Yeah. And the funny thing is that this gets through to Alice. Like, he was already having like a lot of internal dialogue, like, how much longer will I have to do this? Why does this keep happening this way? Stuff like that. Why do I keep losing? Things like that. And then this triggers a flashback for Alice, which I thought was interesting. It's where he flashes back to his final moments from the war. And we see this Sarah and Eve person talking to him, and they're basically thanking Alice for doing his job and telling him, it's like, look, you've done your job and you can rest now. And we even get to see part of the flashback where he looks at the planet and it is just roasted.
Yeah.
As we saw before, there was a ton of damage to the world.
In fact, he even says, like, I wasn't able to protect it to the end after all, or something like that.
Yes, he actually had regrets. So Alice wasn't just a one-note machine. He had some feelings. He was not fully humanoid, not like full artificial intelligence, but he was close. They built a smart gun. And of course we get to see him in his original ancient form with hair and clothes. We're clearly deleted.
Nice.
So there was a whole lot of going down there. But yes, Freddy used talk no jutsu on him, which, as we know, usually triggers flashback to an important moment in the character's history. Almost always happens.
Not wrong.
Not wrong. But then we actually get this nice close up here of the not Sarah and the not Eve and the proto puppy person, who's clearly a dog with a scarf.
A red scarf. Same species as Freddy.
Okay, so I'm not even going to remotely imply that this is literally Freddy.
No, it is not.
I think this was literally a pet. Because as we've seen, Sarah likes cute little floating animals, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this was a species of animal, possibly one they created. And I assume that, like most ancients who try to protect life, they probably preserved as many of species as they could. And this just happened to be a puppy of some sort that they clearly leave behind to become the dominant species on the planet.
Yeah, because they have a line here where they say They say that the Eldora's lands remains and that they can rebuild.
Yeah, that was their plan.
So I think they're basically just before these two left or something, they did something to basically seed the planet with life again, so that way it would evolve and become livable again.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that they always intended. That's why they created the incarnation system, so that the ones left behind could help the planet heal, but then wanted to be able to come back to said healed planet. But obviously, they left some life behind. And I got to wonder if at some point the puppies, so to speak, were protected on or near the moon or a colony from the damage of the planet and were eventually set back down when it was slightly more livable. Like maybe they did, quote, literally seed the planet with new life at some point before they left. The ancients gave us dogs. They didn't give us dogs. They gave themselves dogs. The puppy people were created to dig in the holes. That'd be funny. Except for the fact they would never know when exactly to lie down. They'd be just too busy spinning in circles. Do I do 3 circles this time or 4? Teenage Mutant Puppy People. Yep. They also have diamonds on their clothes, similar to the celestial being uniforms. That's also true, but it's also similar to both Eve and Sarah's clothing. They also have diamonds on their clothes. So it's not just the hairstyle and probably voice actors. I haven't looked.
Plus, all the Eldoran displays are vaguely diamond or rhombus shape.
Yeah, always. Much like GBN. And somebody was asking, what does it say at the bottom? It's literally random letters. It changes constantly. Most of the time, if there's stuff on the screen and it's moving, you cannot read it. It's just gibberish. So, like, hold on, give me a second here. Let me look at my codex. So that's I, Q, Q, I, E, F, K, U, T. You know, it's random letters. So, I mean, it doesn't say anything in particular. Now, the stuff going on over here behind them might. That's on Alison's display. But for the most part, there's nothing to actually check here. But yes, that's interesting. Also, I love this scene because the puppy's tail starts wagging when they're happy and thanking Alice. But either way, that's when I tell him to go to sleep. So he did. And then we jump to now. So the moon is toasted. It's blown up. All his screens are shut off. Everything's gone. And he's literally basically questioning his existence now. He's like, well, what do I do? You know, I've done what I can to protect this planet, but I can't anymore. What is, he actually kind of has a minor existential crisis here. And in the same way, he's sort of flashing back to when the things ends. For a minute or so, he really does have some feelings, and some thoughts. And then, I'm sorry, we skipped. It's not blown up yet. My bad. We then get to the gun finished charging. This was at post Freddy's speech, post Freddy's speech and post combination form.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we just get the big charge complete. Now, the funny thing is, I think he was actually getting through to Alice, but the gun was on auto charge and fire.
Yeah, I get that feeling too. Because it looked like he even was about to say something. He says "your," and that's when we get the combination thing.
Yeah.
And I think you even get that look of he's trying to understand what's going on, and then the cannon goes off.
Yeah, I think.
And I can't remember if we see like him having like a wait or.
He didn't say that. He didn't do anything like that, but it seemed like he was reticent.
Yeah,
it was too late. It was too late.
Something about the same basically is like he didn't want it to go off at that point. Anymore.
Yeah, it did seem like he was like if he had had a couple more seconds, he would have stopped the cannon. But it was all automated at that point. They're like, gun will fire. It's too bad that this gun only fires when it's fully charged. Would be nice if it could fire at 60, the cool thing is, like, you know, they were building it the whole time. They had to fix it, and charging was actually remarkably fast. So I'm guessing the charging sequence was more or less that time limit that they needed. The 30-minute time limit they set for themselves, I think, was the charging sequence. Because it was essentially fully repaired by the time they got to space. So,
right.
But they didn't beat it in time to stop it from firing. Obviously, we know that they instead fired a much bigger weapon at it, which is pretty cool. Then sympathy from the devil.
Yes. I love this part.
He cries at what happened. Like, probably not just because he failed, so to speak, but because he was really feeling something again. Like, maybe there was true remorse. I don't think he gets to express any actual remorse. I think he's just mostly lost in what happened.
Yeah, and what happens here is he remembers the words of the agents, basically, that we just saw, where he says that they would meet again. And you hear him say out loud, and I think the way he says it feels more like he is pleading. He is begging for this. He's for basically saying, when will that be? And that's
he wants to know when they'll come back. That's why whenever they first came to the moon, he's like, "Have you finally returned again?"
Yeah,
you know, and because he's been waiting for his creators to come back, like. And I think it's because he doesn't want to be awake, and he is. So he needs the creators to come back. But also the fact that, you know, he felt like the good boy who just got to take a nap after his job was done.
Yeah.
And then he woke up, and then the people who cared for him are gone. And there's all these new people.
It's the dog waiting at the doorstep for the master to return.
Kinda.
Jurassic Park.
And then the problem is, while he was literally taking a nap, some new people moved into the house. And then when he woke up, he saw them and started attacking the doorstep. It's like, you have no sympathy for him. Well, there's something wrong with you, Carlos, because the point is, he's technically a sympathetic villain at this point. I've felt sorry for Alus after you started realizing what was wrong. He's like, yeah, he's literally a machine that needs someone to come and turn him off.
I mean, yes, he's doing horrible things, but they're painting him with that sympathetic brush to make him a bit more of an interesting character.
Yeah. And for someone who, or I'm still going to refer to him as a being, he's a person, essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially, probably minimal emotions. He probably had some, but he was probably never programmed for sympathy because he needed to be a weapon. And it's entirely possible that through all of this that has happened, and then remembering how he felt before the ancients left, before they turned him off, and then now even having what he considers the enemy not only be sympathetic to him, but thankful for his job.
Yeah.
It actually gets through. Like, and I think that one problem he has is that not only has he been awake for God knows how long at this point, can't shut himself off, knows that he's glitching, and is only doing the only job he knows how to do, and wondering why everybody hates him for it. You know? So yeah, he's definitely a sympathetic thing. While he's killed countless people and done damage to the planet, he's literally programmed to protect this planet, and he just doesn't realize he's protecting it from itself. You know, it's an autoimmune disease, you know,
or cancer.
Yeah, it's like a cancer, but you know, the body is attacking it. It's like, problem is he's the immune system doesn't realize he's attacking a healthy cell, not an invading force. So I mean, he has logic, but the problem is the logic part was broken, and he only was waiting for instructions and only listened to the people who programmed him. So, you know, the fact that he wouldn't listen to the people of the Gunpla who look exactly like his creators, you know, I think he was literally waiting for those two, because we know they were there when he was activated, and now we know he was there when he was turned off. So the Sarah and the Eve were his creators. So he was waiting for them. And unfortunately, one is stuck in GBN and the other is gone to the sea of data. So Forgiveness is not for the recipient. Forgiveness is part of the healing process. Holding a grudge represents an attachment to trauma. Correct.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very good point, Flamey Pal. No, that wasn't Flamey Pal. Sorry. Wow, that jumped. That jumped like 6 comments all at once. I was reading it and it went away. Oh, also that's weird because I'm seeing the. Hold on, my cursor isn't even on the right screen. That was Hita. Hita said that. Good job. Hey, Dion jumped in way late. Now Alice's mind is doing its job. Yeah, exactly. He literally says, I'm just doing my job. Why are you mad at me? I'm just doing my job. You're an invading force. Get off my planet. Where are my masters? Literally, he's like, Alus is a well-written antagonist because even though he committed evil acts, one can still sympathize with his emotions. Yeah, I mean, break decal his purple hide. No, you don't want to break decal him. We want to build decal him. I also think that because he didn't know that the ReRISE Gundam wasn't aiming for him, he thought he was going to die and die without the reunion that he was waiting for.
Oh.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Like, he wants his people back. And now he thought he was going to die without them coming back to him. That's sad as hell.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That paints this in a very different light and helps make some of the stuff that happens next.
And why exactly, yeah. Why is there any possibility that in some ways he was doing what he was doing to be like, come on, I'm fucking up. Where are you people? Come on. Basically doing what he's doing for a little bit of attention, hoping that the creators will come back. He turned their mega weapon against the planet, which he was never ever meant to do.
Yeah, because he had to disable numerous safety features in order to do that.
If he's just a program, why should I feel sorry for him if he's not alive or will have a will of his own? What about the Divers, dude? They're literally just shreds of data.
He has a will of his own to a certain degree.
Yeah. Alus is more of a delusional antagonist than a straight up villain. Yeah. He's lost his way.
Mm-hmm.
He's an antagonist because he's literally going against our heroes and everything else. But he's not exactly a villain because he doesn't have negative intent. It's just his side of his view of things. Okay, how is Eve going to come back? Eve's not coming back. I keep telling you, Dion.
I really hope that Eve doesn't come back. I mean, I'll live, but I really hope they keep her sacrifice in place.
Yeah. As I said before, Allison's just Fry's dog waiting from Futurama. If Fry's dog was attacking people trying to come into the pizza place. Yes, Alus is just.
I did reference that episode a little bit ago.
You did. You said it. Ben R. he apparently said it as well. Goldcat says, so Alus is just a misunderstood bully. I mean, he's a bully who doesn't understand that he's actually bullying. That's the only thing. He has no understanding of what he's doing is wrong because he's only doing as he's programmed. I mean, that's the only problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that at some point he had more sentience. He had more emotions, but they were probably always meant to be limited because he wasn't meant to feel sympathy. And at least for me, I wouldn't want my smart gun to feel sorry for the people that I need him to attack. That's kind of the problem with an attack dog. You need an attack dog to go on command and stop on command, but not have a thought of its own or be able to feel for the thing that it needs to attack. That's really what he is. He's an attack dog that lost the ability to be turned off. That's literally what he is. But he clearly has emotions. He's showing them. Carlos, you're assuming that there's leniency intended. Termination without hesitation isn't the same as prejudice. Yeah. Eve's not gone. Eve is just everywhere. That's a fair point. We'll see of data. She's just a part of all the things. We already know that the ancient just went
She's
turned
one with the
themselves into.
Force.
Yeah, literally, she just turned herself into information and went back to being nothing but information. Unless they have found a way for the ancients to actually come back. I think the problem is they ended up with way more of a way than they meant. We don't know why the ancients never came back. There's a reason, or how they ended up attached to GBN. Oh, how terrible would it be if they're stuck? Like GBN was created and absorbed into it just because of the similarity of data. They literally couldn't come back. GBN existed. The GBN caused the problem in Eldora, not the other way around. Lala is a lie. He was playing hide and seek with Lala. Oh no!
That sounds adorable.
What if he was asleep for so long his data was corrupted, changing his objective parameters? No, they said that before he basically broke himself. The end of the war, he was broken. Kuadorn told us that. So
and part of the reason they put him to sleep was
put him to sleep because he was broken, and he had nothing to do. It's like an attack dog who probably would have started doing this at anything. Like something just sort of floated in the way. He'd be like, kill it, whatever.
The sun is looking shifty. I better destroy it to protect the planet.
Yeah. So while he was normal when they turned him off, clearly over time, I mean, a moon built up around the gun.
I'm was asleep. Convinced that was built like that before, but
no, because we saw it mounted to a thing. The cannon was bigger than the thing it was attached to. So with the debris field, the way it is, just having gravity would have just built up more stuff around it. So, I mean, it wasn't a hologram either because we saw the chunks falling off. It could have easily been a hologram. It would have been believable.
It was sticking out of the moon, and then when it blew up, it chunk off all the pieces, and that's why we have half a moon there and the debris field around Eldora.
Yeah, but the debris field was already there. There was already a debris field, remember? But the thing is that could easily be from anything else. They had a giant war, Then we saw the planet get rained down on by chunks of meteor and rock and God knows what else. We don't even know. Like you said before, there might have been another moon in a further orbit, and maybe that got destroyed, and that's what's floating in orbit. But the idea is that it was there long enough for the gun to be completely buried, like completely. And then he unburied it somehow. Shook it free of all the rocks, I guess, is what happened. Lala is a lie. Charyu throws a shield unwittingly, but I bet he made her do it. Yes. Either way. So Alus gets upset.
Moving on.
Yes, sorry. So this is at post-attack, and literally we see the room destroyed. Lightning going about. And honestly, it's a bit sad because he looks alone.
Very much so.
Like he's always been floating in that room by himself, but there's always stuff. And he always has his one-eye army to a degree. There is nothing.
There's no screens, there's no light. It's just him in the darkness.
Glitching.
With his regrets, basically.
And glitching. He's glitching the same way Eve did. When we knew Eve was corrupted and she was glitching. Alus is doing the same thing. They've been hardcore paralleling Alus to the Eldivers. For anyone who was not paying attention, they've been doing it for at least the last 6 episodes. It's like ever since we started covering the history of Eve, for the most part, they have hardcore been saying Alus equals Eldiver. So Eldora saved. Jed didn't die in vain. Jed didn't die in vain in the first place. He just died. Wait, that processor in your computer is alone doing its job nonstop, glitching because it runs Windows 10. So your point is it's not running Windows 10. It's running Windows NT. Several million years.
Vista.
Alice is better off alone. Problem is he's been alone and he's lonely. Why else do you create an army of clones? Like Sasuke said to Naruto so long ago. It's like the shadow clone jutsu is such a reflection of who you are on the inside, so alone that you just have to make as many copies to put around you as possible.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah, Sasuke was an evil prick there for a while. So you actually get Kudorn coming in to actually try to talk some sense into him. And he's like, sleep now. You've done your job. You can go now. And Alus looks done. He looks ready.
He's tired, exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, like, we've all been there, but to me, he literally looks ready. If there's a form of at peace, I think this was it. And then, he's like, what do I do? I've been waiting. When are they coming? He can't even finish a sentence. Can't even finish a thought.
Yeah. And he's clutching at his head and he's... And Sid just speaks up and goes, the people of the Gunpla will stop you however many times it takes. And Kuador
looks at him.
It's like, dude, shut up.
I sent the meme. I sent the meme to you. I posted it in the Discord. Literally like, dude, what the fuck did you just say? Now, I get that Shido clearly is going to have a grudge. And what he said wasn't technically wrong. He just shouldn't have said it when he said it. Because the villain didn't need more motivation. You dumbass. Wait, do ancients tech better than the Stargate aliens? Ancient techs last for eons and still counting. It just depends on who taking care of it. This wasn't even a It's a gambit. I don't even know what you're saying there, Carlos. With all the grace of a bear. But there's the what the fuck, dude. Like that look.
Dude, seriously?
That would have been like a smack him. Like, shut the like fucking
not helping.
Yeah, you're not helping. Like, you didn't need to taunt him. This is kind of the problem with the proximity communication, because he could literally just sit right there and just say whatever he needed to say. Like, somebody should have muted his ass on the chat. Because he goes, people of the Gunpla. Really?
Invaders from another world.
Okay, so I predicted what happened next, but not in the way it happened. Because Alus goes, screw you. Why wait for you to come here? I'll go to where you come from and kill you there. And by the way, are we noticing the parallels between him doing this and the sun coming out of the combo Gundam?
A little bit.
Except it's only him at the core. So he ports his ass to GBN. I mean, he's had access all this time.
Yeah, because he's been watching them.
He's been watching, and in theory, in original Divers, he was actually helping with brake decals. The one thing I missed in the initial viewing is it shows him actually passing through the portals. And by the way, I managed to catch like the 1 of 2 frames of the actual transition between Eldora and GBN. Because it's pink, then it goes this, then it goes blue. Just randomly. This is what I caught.
Interesting.
Hitting screenshots. Masaki, what have you done? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he just goes, I'm gonna go to GBN and screw all of you. Dude, you're literally falling apart. What do you think you're gonna do in GBN? But it's your world. I'm gonna go destroy it. And clearly he has no idea what he's getting into. Now, a lot of people are saying that it was the plan all along for Shido to say that. Shido wasn't involved in the planning. Remember, he showed up last minute. They didn't even know he was coming. Only Kuadorn knew that he was coming because he summoned him. Shido was not part of the plan at all. So, no, that part was not part of the plan. I think that him coming to GBN was part of the plan, not that Shido would get him there.
Because there's a scene early in the episode where Maggie is looking at whatever their partner name is. I know we got a name, but I can't remember what it was.
Who?
But said something about like we got preparations to make or something.
Yeah,
like
I'm talking
that.
to B. Yeah, he said to B and whoever the other. There were 3 people there. I don't know who the other person was. I missed it, but it was B. I think it was Patrick. Oh, it was Patrick.
Yeah, Patrick Kolasar was right behind
It was our Patrick cameo. Patrick's literally part of the solution. Yeah, so when they left and they started the things, literally Maggie said, okay, time to start preparations. So they had the plan of what was going to happen here because it wasn't an accident. And it wasn't because they were live streaming it. Kazumi did that last second when they got there. Because remember, they asked him, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm setting up the live stream so everybody can watch. That wasn't part of the plan. He just came up with that. Or else they wouldn't bother asking him why he's streaming the video. So that wasn't part of it. They were planning on Alus coming to GBN one way or the other. That's why it's called preparations, just in case. They're like, if he doesn't go to sleep, we need to get him to come to GBN.
So I still love this entire sequence, though.
Yeah, welcome to SAO. So we get what I think is actually a reproduction of the scene from when the massive glitch happened in the first season.
Most likely they probably reused that animation.
They probably reused this animation, except for the incoming massive flow of data or whatever the thing said. Yeah. And then literally it's everywhere. By the way, this is not a GBN map. This is an Earth map. This is breaking into servers across the world. So they're monitoring the world, not GBN. So he's literally coming across, even in the top end of Greenland. And in Alaska, there's a lot of people there. But yeah, I'm sure they reused this map. Rommel and Alice. I don't think is Rommel's a general, isn't he? Not a captain. I thought.
I can't remember.
Doesn't matter. Alice can't beat 4 random GBN players. Now he's going to GBN, a world full of Gunpla GBN players. Yeah, but we don't know why he's doing what he's doing. He just said, screw
my thoughts about this when we're almost there.
I mean, I think his thoughts is, well, you know what? You screwed my home world, so to speak. I'm going to go. It's like, you're an invader to my world. You hurt me here. I'm going to go to your home and hurt you. So I don't think he cares about winning so much as hurting. So this is the first inkling of him technically doing something like a villain. This is vengeance.
Yeah.
He wasn't involved in vengeance before. He was in just upgrading to win because he needed to protect the planet. This is screw you. I'm going to your house. Yeah, obviously, Alice really doesn't understand what GBN is. Kind of like an L-diver popping between worlds. He doesn't see a difference.
Exactly.
He thinks GBN is just another planet. Also, the fact that he would just wreck GBN, not an actual planet.
That's the part that makes me think, because they could have whipped out some sort of FTL BS, but he decides to go to GBN.
Yeah.
Which to me, that tells me that he's looking at GBN and he goes, oh, that's their world. That's their real world.
Yeah.
Virtual and actual reality the concepts don't.
To a virtual being, a virtual world, and a real world are the same. Alice lives in both. He's. I mean, the parallels to being an L-diver are everywhere.
They're hitting us over the head with it.
Yeah,
constantly.
Okay, so here's the stupid portals. I don't like the stupid portals.
Why don't you like the stupid portals?
Because they've never shown him using portals. They show him breaking through. They show things like materializing, not big ass swirling purple bits. That, if you note, these have got to be a last minute addition because it didn't have animation time. Because if you notice, the ships that come out of them are coming out behind them, not in front of them. Those are overlays. So these, I believe, are last second additions. Also, I don't think I ever made the connection between Milog Mountain floating and the floating mountains and this,
this is the nest for Avalon.
Yeah. So we get him. See what I'm talking about? That he's not coming through the portals. He's coming from behind the portals. I have a feeling this was just a quick animation. Like, we just needed to cover it with something that looked cool. And yeah, I don't care about the stupid Infinity War, or rather Endgame logic. This wasn't an on your left moment. I mean, how else do you get ridiculous amounts of things? I just think it was like something they had to throw together. So it's DBZ Namek Saga. Yeah, but Frieza was a tyrant. That's what Frieza did. He went planet to planet, just destroying everything. It is what it is. I feel after they got the Build Divers come back, their budget just dropped. It wasn't the budget; it was the time. They were every series was behind, and they're on a schedule.
And they lost a bunch of time because of the pandemic.
Yeah. They lost a lot of time. So, I mean, we've already seen that they rushed through the last section. Even though the same amount of episodes, it does feel like they cut stuff or just very quickly threw things together.
What the Blu-ray release eventually for this will be like.
Yeah. They said they wanted a last-minute invasion just like OG Divers. I think this was always part of the plan.
I think so, too.
This was always part of the plan. I think how they got there, I mean, in the very literal sense, wasn't. Like I said, I think these portals and stuff were not originally part of it. I think it was probably going to be more like a magic dust or them just appearing or something like that.
Or like the sky cracking open when the break.
Yeah, them punching through reality, so to speak, just like the last time everything exploded. Yes, it is tying back to various. I think that's the other reason why they're making it very much like the end of original Divers, is because Alus was the reason for those glitches, which was very much alluded to by Eve. And as I discovered. But either way, we got these really crazy looking ships coming through, which we've never seen before. He didn't use spaceships at all. So the fact that he decided to, hey, let's just throw in some spaceships. Why not? And we get different forms of regular one-eyes, including a Wyndham, which is right out front. And then we get a very up-close teaser of a new one in stores later.
I want to say we saw one or two of these in the space fight. But I can't remember for certain.
I don't think so. If we did, it wasn't on screen for very long because I didn't notice it until the preview. I didn't even notice it here until I accidentally froze it on the screen. So that would be what I call an Eldorazine. Because the Danazine, I'm calling it an Eldorazine. So they're really going with a lot of age references here. Feels like fan service should have ended last episode. Focus last episode on Eldora, Earth connecting. No. We still have battle to do.
Yeah.
Tamina's working on the portals because at this point it's a GBN problem, not an Eldora problem. And they brought everybody in GBN's on board. So then we get this is the real Avengers moment, in my opinion.
Yes.
This is the fan service. Can you name everything on the screen?
Let's see.
Let me help you out a little.
There we go. Okay, so we got the Tolgis 2 on the right.
Yep. Yeah.
Hold
on here. Let me help
one
you
of this.
Here we go.
Yeah, so Tolgis 2, Forbidding Gundam up high, up above it.
That is what?
No, to the left. That one. That's Forbidden, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's Forbidden. I think this is Raider.
Or a variation thereof, and
one of them's Forbidden, one of them's Raider. I don't know.
Nataku.
Hold on, what's this guy?
Is that Rose?
Yeah, it's Rose. That's Nataku. What's that one?
I can't tell from.
It's Curios.
That's Curios. Okay.
Yeah. And then we got whatever the heck this thing is, little claw thingy. Can't tell. I think this is a. It's got big red shoulders, so I'm not sure what that one is off the top of my head. Something over here. Okay, let's go over to this side of the screen. What's this guy?
Is that a
GPO3?
GPO3? Okay.
GPO3. Yeah. And then I'm not entirely certain what this one is. I don't know it offhand.
No, that's a weird looking one.
Yeah, or this one. I don't know what this guy is either. It's Arios. Is it Arios? Not Curios? Yes, my bad.
The one with the spear just above, with the red and white one with the spear. That's
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Rising. Yeah.
Okay.
So they had to bring in the Rising. Oh, and the buy on P Bandai shop right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, they always try to do that.
The Ultron Nataku just got reissued too, didn't it?
Yeah, but this is a different version though. That's kind of the movie version, but not really. Wrong colors. That's the natural colors with the dual saber. Either way, and there's a few others that are kind of recognizable. We got Asclepius from G Unit. I guess that's this guy. I thought you had that. Airmaster Burst, Asclepius, Sword Strike. Sword Strike? Where the hell's Sword Strike? I don't see a Sword Strike anywhere, Diane.
Unless it's the one next to Airmaster that's real small.
That?
Yeah.
Nah, that's got two. That doesn't look like... I don't know what the heck that is. Gundam Freedom on the right with the blue wings. This? That's Gundam Rose. That's Shoulder Cape. Dang UP Bandai. Top left looks like Bael. Where? There's nothing top left. This big green thing? Or you mean that? That does not look like Bael. Airmaster Burst. I don't care if that's an Airmaster Burst. It's an Airmaster. It's whatever. This looks like a Tauros of some type. Or one of those other weird transforming things from...
Yeah, it's hard to see from my end because the screen's
no,
so small.
It's really hard to tell what a lot of these are. This one's just interesting. Oh, this looks like a... almost looks like a Blast Impulse, maybe. Raven Gundam with the Trident head. Trident head? What? What thing has a Trident head? This? Either way, we're enough out of this. Passing this episode just right, actually. Okay. The pacing. Okay. Yeah, people are saying the pacing of this episode was weird.
I don't know.
Oh, hold on. No, he said it was just right. Okay.
Yeah.
Hydra Gundam.
But I just love this part because he comes in and he's like, yeah, I'm going to wreck shop. I'm going to destroy everything. And then the same thing that happens to our heroes all the time. He looks at his radar and suddenly it's filled with enemies.
Oh, hold on. You mean like that? And by the way, I don't think he entered everywhere. I think everything he had is right here.
I think so too.
Why he chose this spot, except for his weird obsession with Hiruto, I think that's the only reason he came here. Because this is where Hiruto's last stand was, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's a weird flavor right at the end. But yeah, just the oh shit. Like he even gets that oh shit look on his face.
Yeah, that look on his face. It's like that is a look of fear.
Didn't get that shot. But I got the final shot, as it were.
And I just love you hear Maggie go, "Welcome to GBN."
Welcome to GBN. Like in that jovial voice, like.
And it's like everybody's like, hey, everybody, look. Free XP.
Gale Strike. Okay, he says Gale Strike. Oh, that makes sense, yeah. Wait, was there a Gale Strike? I thought that was a different
Gale Strike is part of a
I know it's a different thing of
side story.
Yeah. I feel like the final battle will have almost no tension because if 5 builders could defeat Alus at his best, how can Alus beat hundreds of thousands of players? He can't. And that's kind of the thing. Because if in 2 minutes they wipe out everything he's got, then he's only got one option. Listen. He already lost all hope. That's why he lashed out.
Mm-hmm.
He lost all hope, and then someone poked him. The bear actually poked him, ironically. So let's talk about the weird design of these ships just briefly, because I know you got to go.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they were referencing something specific, how he likes to copy things, but there's so few ships that have a twin hull design like this. I couldn't find anything just in a quick search. It does borrow some design aspects from different ships, but there's one from Age, I think it was called the Bishop or something like that. It's like their version of the Federation ships, but twin hulls even really looks like the Earth Federation ships, like they just copied it straight out of Origin and then stuck an engine between them. And then there's the Orb ships from Seed that are also twin hull-ish. The launching pad was kind of in the middle. I don't know if he's copying anything specific, or maybe these are really like designs of actual Eldoran spaceships that we never got to see up close. Although those look like they had either tri or quad claws. Those Wyndhams almost look Evangelion-esque in this shot. I guess, yeah. And then you get a Damascene here, you get one over here. I feel like that's like another new one. He's just like, this looks cool, and I'm kind of like, I know a dragon. I Also, that would make sense if he's been fighting a dragon, both with Kuadorn and Valkylander, that he would go, okay, I need a dragon too. Because it's always like, okay, I need a version of this. So yeah, this is where the episode ends. Resembles a bit like the elves. People say it looks elves-like. If you actually go back and look at the elves ships and stuff like that, they borrow a lot of design from different Gundam stuff, even the crossbone, which is really weird. How there's a form of an elves ship, for lack of a better term, that looks exactly like a crossbones core fighter, but a lot of them, they look like the GNX Lance, and most of them have big domes. There's one that has 3 big claws, and those are usually ones that fire big beam cannons. So it's possible that that is similar, but the color scheme and stuff like that doesn't really apply to anything in general, from what I can tell. I still don't get how they plan to save Alus when everyone in GBN can accidentally kill him. Well, it kind of depends on if he has a single point, like there's a single command ship. They just don't blow up that command ship.
Mm-hmm.
They already knew he was coming, and they kind of somehow knew he was coming here. Although I assume that they were... I assume in a way they've kind of had it ready. Like they're like, okay, all these worlds, just be on standby.
Yeah, and
everybody you know.
Say he appears, just use a teleportation crystal or whatever.
Which would actually be cool if that's what they did. Like literally everybody actually popped in. It wasn't just his radar updating. That'd be cool. I would actually love that if they literally just went like everyone just suddenly came there because they got the notification. That would, if that's what they did, that's awesome.
I think that I get the feeling that maybe something like that happened, because that also explains why it suddenly appears on his radar and why he has this sudden fearful look after, I think he was saying something as he was porting in.
Okay. I put Carlos in timeout because I'm tired of him telling me that Alice needs to die. Carlos, drop it, or I'm going to block you from the streams. I don't care the stuff that... It's your opinion, but you've done too much. We've talked to you in the Discord. We've said you need to chill. I'm done. So I put you in timeout. You can't comment for 5 minutes. We'll probably be shut down by then. Drop it. I know you couldn't see me for that, but drop it. I'm over it. I'm really over it, dude. You've gotten way too personal. Way too personal. You've taken a cartoon way too personally, my dude. You need to back down. You need to calm down. Okay? We've kid gloved you for a while now. I'm done. It's a cartoon character. He's going to have a redemption arc. That's my prediction. I predicted it last time.
Yeah.
They're going to give him a build decal. They're going to let him into the real world. He's going to learn how to be a good boy again. And he's not going back to Eldora. Eldora will be fine. The other planets will be fine. GBN will be resurrected. Maybe we'll get some actual ancients to come back. Or maybe he'll actually talk to Sarah and go, okay, I need to stop this because here's literally one of my creators. That's my prediction for the next episode.
Do you think they'll turn him into a Haro?
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. Turn him into a Haro. Turn him into a Haro.
A blue and purple one or something?
No, don't put him in the evil purple one. The evil purple one is what's his face is.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yes. So no, okay. So we got the teasers. We see more battle. We see cameos. We know the divers will eventually have to come back here, which they know where Alice went. It was part of the plan. They knew they wanted Alice to come to GBN, either to isolate him from Eldora, which, yay. If they could literally go into the moon base and shut off the connection, even better. So he literally has no way to come back. He could only go the one place, and they've got him isolated, and they just go blap, slap him with a build decal and stick him in a plastic body where he can't do anybody any harm. But in theory, if he can shut down because of Sarah or somebody telling him to, yay. Just like I feel bad for Alice, I'm starting to feel bad for Mr. Carlos. Yeah. So it is what it, not a Haro. It'd be so funny if they put him in a Haro and he's stuck.
I will destroy you.
Talk about a not fitting end. He needs a redemption arc. Just wiping him out wouldn't get you anywhere. That's literally just vengeance for vengeance sake, which is where we already were. This is all about understanding and the fact that they already have love for fake life forms. You know, it's like, look, come hang out with the Divers. They completely understand you and are possibly your creators. One of us. You know, it'll be fine. Alus needs to be a 1144 Saku. Make him a Saku. That'd be funny. Purple. A purple Saku. Okay, so that's the end. Yeah, so that's the end. Make Alus a beautiful. I would like to see Alus be recovered and turned back to his original form. That'd be cool.
You know what? And I'd be down for him getting a mobile doll body. That could be cool.
Yeah.
An extra kit to build.
Yeah. He already looked like a mannequin, so he's already there. I mean, it'd be a sparkly, translucent pink mobile doll with no accents, no clothing or anything. It'd look a little. It would look like one of those artistic models.
Oh yeah, like the body coon from SH Fig Rights.
I mean, what if they? Okay, there's a fair point. What if Alus gets deleted, goes back to the Sea of Data, and is reformatted as an Eldiver with a new personality in life, all Majin Buu style?
Gets restarted in safe mode.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's almost what it is now. But either way, guys, we got to go. It's late. Yes. Thanks for hanging out. We hit new numbers. By the way, we set a new record for screenshots. 92.
Oh my god.
And that wasn't even the entire episode.
Heaven knows what we're going to do next time.
Less. We'll just live stream the whole thing and just go for copyrights. Either way, guys, come back next week for the finale. So yeah, that's basically it. And Carlos, don't think I'm picking on you. You've been told you need to chill, and you have not chilled. So it's time to chill, buddy. Okay? That's all it is. We're not picking on you because of your interests. You are who you are. You're a gifted artist. You write stuff. Fine. You like what you like, but stop being so over the top with it, dude. That's all we're saying. Next time you screenshot the entire thing, just frame by frame. No, I'll just have it paused and I'll just proceed one frame at a time as we just go over it, because we could technically get away with that. So that's it. So guys, once again, go subscribe to this guy. Go subscribe to the secondary channel. All those things. Look forward to everything coming up this week, whatever that might be. And for the love of God, everyone in the paths of the hurricanes, be safe this week. This is going to be a scary week for a lot of people. And we don't even know who all those people will be. That's the scary part. Isn't uncertainty great? But have a great night. Have a great week. And keep on nerding. Keep on building. And
I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.
Like Alice did.